Chapter 2026. Falling in love with you, transmigrating canon fodder female supporting character counterattack. He didn't know if the suppression of the laws of this world was strong. Ning Shu pointed his finger, and a water droplet appeared in front of him. The suppression was quite strong. Ning Shu turned the water droplet into a barrier around his body. He shouldn't be able to see her like this. She wasn't sure if Zhao Yang's X-ray vision could see her body. She felt that this man was really vulgar. When looking at women, he used X-ray vision. Ning Shu used the water droplet to form a thin barrier around his body. Then, he sat cross-legged on the bed and began to cultivate. There was basically no spiritual energy in the modern plane. He could only absorb the power of the sun. If the power of the sun was not pure, the air would be filled with haze and car exhaust. Although it was not very pure, Ning Shu did not mind. It was best to have some ability to protect oneself. After Zhao Yang became rich, he was followed by a long line of bodyguards. For his own safety, Zhao Yang was very vigilant. Ning Shu was cultivating when the sound of a car engine came from outside. Then, there was the sound of stopping the fire. Ning Shu stopped cultivating. Zhao Yang came really quickly. Ning Shu sat in the room and did not move. Zhao Yang would definitely come to find him first. Ning Shu closed his eyes and continued to cultivate. The modern plane was so lacking in spiritual energy. It was absolutely impossible to have the power to split mountains and fill the sea. There was a knock on the door, followed by the voice of a maid. She whispered, "Miss, Zhao Yang is here. He is now looking at the old man. Do you want to go over and take a look?" The Rou family also gave her a salary, and the treatment was not bad. He didn't see this maid so enthusiastic. She was blinded by a little profit. Ning Shu got down from the bed, put on his shoes, and opened the door. He looked at the maid. The maid was stared at by Ning Shu like this. She was a little nervous and lowered her head. Ning Shu said, "Where are they?" "In the old man's study," the maid said. Ning Shu nodded. He gathered his clothes and went to the study. At the door of the study, Zhao Yang, who was wearing casual clothes, was talking to the old man. "Xueqiao, you're here. Come in." The old man was already in his 80s. There were wrinkles on his face, but because he took good care of himself, there were no age spots on his face or hands. Ning Shu walked into the study and called out, "Grandpa, who is this?" He turned to look at Zhao Yang and asked, "Grandpa, who is this?" "Zhao Yang." Zhao Yang's face trembled. This young lady actually had no impression of him at all. That can't be. At that time, he saved the old man of the Rou family. Zhao Yang's left eye lit up. His eyes were very bright as he stared at Ning Shu. He sized up Ning Shu from head to toe and then frowned. He found that his X-ray vision was actually unable to clearly see the body of this woman in front of him. It was as if he was looking through a layer of frosted glass. He could see the general outline, but he couldn't see the details. His X-ray vision was like looking into a mirror. He could clearly see the body covered by clothes. Could it be that his X-ray vision wasn't good enough? Zhao Yang looked at Old Master Rou. Seeing Old Master Rou's stooped and flabby body wrapped in clothes, Zhao Yang immediately covered his eyes. This was the disadvantage of X-ray vision. He might see something unpleasant. Zhao Yang looked at Ning Shu again, but it was still blurry and he couldn't see clearly. Zhao Yang couldn't help but frown. Why couldn't his X-ray vision work on Rou Xueqiao? The last time he saw Rou Xueqiao, he could still see that her skin was as smooth as cream, soft and firm. Her lower abdomen was flat and there was no fat at all. Her legs were extremely slender, and there was that seductive triangular area. He saw it clearly last time. Why couldn't he see it this time? Or was Rou Xueqiao wearing something that couldn't be X-ray vision? Zhao Liang was a little depressed. Ning Shu looked at Zhao Liang. Zhao Liang's appearance was very ordinary. There were some acne marks on his face, which made his skin look bad. He was thin and his left eye was very bright. When he looked at people, it made them feel like they were being seen through. Seeing the displeasure on Zhao Liang's face, Ning Shu breathed a sigh of relief. No one liked to be seen naked. Zhao Liang's situation was considered peeping. He had seen her naked without anyone knowing. Zhao Liang didn't know how happy he must be. "Miss Ro, you might not know me. I'm Zhao Liang." Zhao Liang put away the disappointment in his heart. Ning Shu said with a smile. Although he wasn't very handsome, when he smiled like this, it gave people a feeling of sunshine. "I heard that you were sick. I brought you some porridge. I made this porridge myself. I hope you like it." Zhao Liang put his hand on the thermos. Ning Shu asked with a surprised expression, "Thank you, I'm not sick." "Who told you that I was sick?" "Actually, this porridge is for Elder Ro, but I heard that you were sick." Zhao Liang didn't say that it was the maid who told him. If he betrayed the maid, who would pass the message to him? Ning Shu said directly, "Since you gave it to my grandfather, I can't accept it." "Grandfather, why are you looking for me?" Ning Shu looked at Elder Ro. Did he need her, his granddaughter, to entertain outsiders? "Nothing." Elder Ro said, "If there's nothing, you can go out." Ning Shu frowned. "Xiao Li said you were looking for me." Zhao Liang saw that Ro Xueqiao was about to go out and quickly said to Elder Ro, "Elder Ro, you have to pay more attention to rest. Don't stay up late. It's not good to worry. Your body will recover soon." Elder Ro nodded. Zhao Liang followed Ning Shu out of the study. Zhao Liang had been using his X-ray vision to size up Ning Shu, but he couldn't see clearly, except for his face and neck. Zhao Liang was really unhappy. His X-ray vision, which had never had a problem, actually had a problem with Ro Xueqiao. Moreover, he had saved Elder Ro before, but Ro Xueqiao didn't recognize him. She was looking down on him too much. Zhao Liang felt that with his X-ray vision, everyone should be surrounding him. He was now famous, a master appraiser, but she hadn't heard of him. She was too ignorant. "You don't look too good. Are you sick?" Zhao Liang leaned closer to Ning Shu, his eyes staring straight at Ning Shu's face. If it was an ordinary woman, she would be blushed by his direct, confident, and aggressive gaze. Ning Shu put his hands behind his back and took a step back. He tilted his head and looked at Zhao Liang, who said I was sick. "I'm not sick. You're the Zhao Liang that you, mentioned, right? I heard you, say that she met an interesting person. I hope you won't make you, sad. This was the best friend of you, client. Their family background was comparable. He already had so many women, but he still wanted to flirt with her. He took in every beauty he saw. Could he have any shame? How could he have the nerve to do that?" Zhao Liang was a nouveau riche. He couldn't control himself when he suddenly became rich, and then he became arrogant. Just read a refreshing novel. Chapter 2027. Falling in Love with You, the canon fodder female supporting characters counterattack. Zhao Liang thought that he was the boss, and there were also women who wanted to drill into his arms, eager to show off his achievements. He had a lot of resources, money, and women in society, but Zhao Liang's heart would not be satisfied, and would only become more and more greedy. There was no lack of women who used their bodies in exchange for a comfortable life. They took a fancy to Zhao Liang, who did not have a high social status. It was a bit difficult to hook up with those high and mighty rich second generation, but Zhao Liang was much easier. However, the daughters who had a relationship with Zhao Liang could finally fall in love with Zhao Liang. Under the halo of a stallion man, women's hearts were blinded. The client's identity was a girl from a rich family. She had seen money and all kinds of jewelry. As for the things that Zhao Liang showed, the client really did not take a fancy to. Therefore, girls had to be raised well, and would not be lost because of a little attention from a man. In addition, Rou Xueqiao understood the situation of Rou family, and the marriage with her fiancé's family was a mission to pull the Rou family that was in danger. You and I are friends who can talk to each other. Did you misunderstand something? Zhao Liang looked at Ning Shu with a smile. Ning Shu grinned. She especially hated Zhao Liang's left eye. The pupil of his left eye was constantly shrinking, and he was probably still desperately trying to see her body. I won't let you see, so I won't let you see. No matter what your identity is, you, is my best friend. You'd better not make her sad. I heard that you have a lot of girlfriends, is that so? Ning Shu's eyes were full of straightforward disdain. You have so many girlfriends, and you're trying to flirt with a beauty. You have the nerve. Zhao Liang's face changed. He thought that this arrogant young miss did not know about his situation. He did not expect her to know that he had several women. He failed to make a good impression, and Zhao Liang thought that the other party would not have any opinions about his situation. At most, she would make a fuss for a while, and then compromise. Just like when you knew that he had several women, she immediately became jealous. In the end, she also acted coquettishly and said that he could only spoil her in the future. He had tacitly agreed to the existence of those women. He had already dealt with you, who was arrogant and difficult to deal with. Could it be that he couldn't deal with this noble and cold soft Snow Qiao? As soon as Zhao Liang saw Ning Shu's frosty face, he felt annoyed. One day, he would let this woman linger under his body and let her know the consequences of looking down on him. Zhao Liang wanted to conquer this woman in front of him, and after conquering her, he wanted to get rid of her. Sooner or later, I'll fuck you. Zhao Liang thought indignantly. This woman didn't like him, but she had the appearance that he liked. How infuriating. Ning Shu saw the resentful look on Zhao Liang's face. He didn't need to think to know what Zhao Liang was thinking. Under Ning Shu's gaze, Zhao Liang was a little embarrassed. Although Zhao Liang was rich now, he still couldn't raise his head in the face of a family with a real background. He was resentful in his heart. In the face of a person like Ning Shu who looked at him from a high position, Zhao Liang was embarrassed and angry in his heart. People like Soft Snow Qiao were people that Zhao Liang couldn't get rid of in the past. Even if he got in touch with them, they were people that he could only look at but not reach. The reason why Zhao Liang didn't refuse beautiful women and chased after powerful women was to prove that he was really different from before. He was no longer the person who had nothing. Even if Zhao Liang was given X-ray vision and had a lot of money, it couldn't change Zhao Liang's mentality. Ning Shu just showed a little arrogance, and Zhao Liang couldn't stand it. Zhao Liang said that he would visit another day and left. Looking at Zhao Liang's back, Ning Shu curled his lips and turned to the old man's study. Grandpa. Ning Shu called Elder Rou. Elder Rou put down his reading glasses and asked, Rou, what's wrong? You sent Zhao Liang away. Ning Shu said lightly, Grandpa, you seem to think highly of Zhao Liang. The young man is not bad, right? Don't bully a young man because he's poor. Besides, he's quite capable. It's a pity that you're already engaged to the Mo family. Otherwise, you could marry Zhao Liang. Elder Rou said half-jokingly. Ning Shu rolled his eyes and said, Grandpa, wake up. Let me tell you, this Zhao Liang has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. You, was tricked by him. He has a lot of female friends, and he doesn't plan to marry any of them. I don't think he'll get married in this lifetime. If he gets married, he can't be entangled with so many women. If he wasn't married and had a lot of women around him, people would at most say that his private life was debauched. To put it nicely, it was called a romantic. It also proved that the man was charming. Besides, with so many women, it wasn't suitable to marry any one of them. It would be better if everyone didn't have a wife. It would be equal. Elder Ro put down his brush and was a little surprised. He's so unrestrained in his private life. He's a man. There's something wrong with him. Elder Ro said carelessly. A man who can't even control his own belt, what kind of future does he have? Let's not talk about how he treats women. Do you know how he treated his classmates who didn't lend him money after he became rich? He forced others into a corner. You can see what kind of person this person is. Grandpa, you have to get along with him in the future. If you say something that hurts his heart, he will find a chance to kill our Ro family. Ning Shu said slowly. Elder Ro frowned. How do you know so much about him? It's you who told me this in my ear. I can't help but want to know about this person. So, Grandpa, don't think that he saved you. Do you know what he studied in university before? Information technology. How could he know how to treat illnesses and save people? Ning Shu directly exposed Zhao Liang's background. Grandpa, I've told you so much. Be more careful when you get along with this Zhao Liang. Also, I think this man is too strange. Elder Ro nodded. Other than this, is there anything else? Ning Shu said, Grandpa, I want to learn nursing. When I get married to Mo Ming, I can take good care of him. Sure, it's just that it's hard on you. Your father is useless. Elder Ro sighed. The Ro family's current situation was not very good. Although a skinny camel was bigger than a horse, there were some projects that were directly stuck. The Ro family could not even get meat soup. What was there to do? Doing some projects that were the size of a mosquito's leg, the Ro family's situation was very grim. Ning Shu only said, Dad is also working very hard. It was difficult for a clever woman to cook without rice. What could he do if he could not get the project? The higher-ups would not give it to him. Ning Shu wanted to learn nursing. Firstly, it was to give the Mo family a signal. Secondly, it was to prevent him from suddenly knowing everything and arousing suspicion. The client had not learned any nursing. If he acted very skillful, wouldn't it arouse suspicion? Just read a refreshing novel. Chapter 2028. Falling in love with you, Transmigrating Canon Fodder Female Supporting Character Counterattack. Ning Shu said, Grandpa, it's better to investigate Zhao Liang more. This Zhao Liang is very powerful. Even if you find something, don't say anything. Okay, you child, I don't need you to tell me about this. Old Man Ro said. His only failure was to stand on the wrong side during the election. Ning Shu nodded. The following days were more busy. He went to the top hospital to learn nursing. Although the Mo family did not lack nursing staff, this was a problem of attitude. At the same time, Ning Shu had to take away all the advantages of Zhao Liang. Now Zhao Liang was a little famous and his net worth was not low. How to deal with Zhao Liang? It was really difficult to deal with. Ning Shu not only learned nursing knowledge, but also relied on the Ro family's relationship to become a disciple of a traditional Chinese medicine master. He also learned some traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture. Although traditional Chinese medicine had become specious, there were still top traditional Chinese medicine who were true traditional Chinese medicine. This kind of person served those above. Ning Shu knew a little about acupuncture, but when she was learning it, she hid some of her skills. When the master asked her to memorize the acupoints, she did so and tried it on her own body. When the master saw that Ning Shu was serious about learning, he began to slowly teach Ning Shu the medical theory of taking the pulse and various symptoms. For the same disease, traditional Chinese medicine would try to fully understand the principle of the case, while Western medicine was to treat the foot and the head. A truly proficient doctor of traditional Chinese medicine would not be so flustered. Only by combining Chinese and Western medicine could they treat diseases better. Just like the old man who took heart pills, he also took Chinese medicine pills. They were all made of expensive Chinese medicine. Ning Shu did not know how sick the fiancée of the client was. He heard that his mother's health was not good, but she insisted on giving birth to him. Premature birth was weak, and her resistance was very weak. She was often hospitalized. However, Mo Ming was more favored in the Mo family. Otherwise, the Rou family would not have this idea. With Mo Ming's short life, very few girls married him. The Rou family married an outstanding girl to him, not for the sake of the monk, but for the sake of the Buddha, to help reverse the decline of the Rou family. Ning Shu was very familiar with this knowledge, so he treated it as a review. In addition to learning nursing knowledge, Ning Shu also hired a private investigator to keep an eye on Zhao Liang. Ning Shu looked at the photos brought by the private investigator. In the photos, Zhao Liang took a group of his close female friends out for a meal or shopping. He even bought a big villa for everyone to live together in the future. Other than spending time with his confidants, he also went to casinos and stone gambling dens. With the help of his X-ray vision, Zhao Liang could earn tens of millions every minute. It was too easy to earn money. Zhao Liang was basically lying down and collecting money. It was too comfortable. Moreover, Zhao Liang had a batch of valuable antiques in his hands. Being opportunistic was always faster than actually earning money. If everyone in the world was like Zhao Liang, then who would do business? Just like the Rou family, they were also trying their best to get projects. After doing projects, they would get money from the country. What they did was all industry. This was the foundation of their foothold. In the eyes of these wealthy families, Zhao Liang was just a person who jumped up with a little bit of luck. He did not have a strong background to support him. Of course, in the end, Zhao Liang would give these people a resounding slap in the face. He, Zhao Liang, was very powerful. So what if you rich second generation had a strong background? He would still hang you up. Ning Shu burned these photos. Otherwise, he would keep the photos to wipe his ass. It was very painful to poke at people. Ning Shu spread rumors in the casino that Zhao Liang was a cheater. Otherwise, in one night, Zhao Liang won millions from the casino. The people in the casino had been staring at Zhao Liang for a long time. Every time the casino would cheat, but Zhao Liang could win. It was really crazy. In the stone gambling place, Ning Shu spread the rumor that Zhao Liang had a special method to distinguish what kind of jade was inside the raw stone, so Zhao Liang could open the best jade every time. There were countless top-grade jades with good water head from his hands, and Zhao Liang had the ability to distinguish them. In fact, Ning Shu could also see the situation inside the raw stone with spiritual force, but Ning Shu was not very interested in this. If it was the origin of the world, she would be very excited, but jade, at most, it was a good-looking stone. Ning Shu was not interested. Moreover, the situation of the Rou family was not something that could be solved by a few broken stones. It was also related to the status of the aristocratic families. Whether it was gambling or stone gambling, it was a game of heartbeat. It could be bankrupt or a windfall. They all wanted to win. Zhao Liang had special methods and props to know the situation inside the raw stone. This kind of rumor spread very quickly. In fact, many people noticed Zhao Liang, the king of stone gambling. Although there were a few times when the water was not good, most of them were very good. Even if Zhao Liang later bought the raw stone and did not open it in the stone gambling house, he took it back and opened it himself. But some people still think that Zhao Liang found the best jade. As soon as this rumor came out, these people who surrounded the stone gambling every day were stunned. If there was really a way to find the best quality raw stone, then they would be rich. Even some of the rich second-generation heirs heard these rumors and wanted to see if Zhao Liang had this kind of ability and method. Moreover, things like jade were not too much. So one night, Zhao Liang was put in a bag, hit with a stick, and dragged away. Since he became rich, Zhao Liang had never been treated like this. Now, those who knew him were not respectful. Now, there was such a bold person who hit him with a stick. Zhao Liang was tied up by a group of crazy playboys. Like playing a game, they let Zhao Liang choose the raw stone with the best jade inside. If he could not choose, he would be beaten. These playboys usually played very wild. They played with women and men. They could even pull a man's intestines out of his rectum and kill people. Therefore, Zhao Liang would definitely suffer in the hands of these people. Zhao Liang regretted that he came out alone. He rented a house next to the stone gambling house. The main purpose was to open the raw stone. After buying the raw stone, he had to open it himself. Zhao Liang planned to go to the jade mine to buy the raw stone and open it himself. He did not need to buy the raw stone from the stone gambling house to attract attention. But he did not expect to be targeted. These playboys looked at Zhao Liang as if he was a toy. They let Zhao Liang choose the raw stone and gave him 3 chances. If he chose wrong, his finger would be cut off. If he guessed wrong again, he would be cut off again. Zhao Liang was speechless. Go to hell, Zhao Liang cursed in his heart. These playboys will be dealt with sooner or later, and your family will be bankrupt. But Zhao Liang had to think about his finger. He chose the jade with the best water to make these playboys happy. Zhao Liang felt sullen. He felt that although he had X-ray vision, he was still humiliated by these playboys who had a good family. Sooner or later, he would be taken down by these playboys. Just read a novel. Chapter 2029. Falling in Love with You, Transmigrating Canon Fodder Female Supporting Character Counterattack. Zhao Liang was played like a monkey by these rich second generations. If he didn't find the best jade, he would be punished. Zhao Liang's heart was filled with indignation. He had already thought of countless ways to take revenge on these spoiled brats and punish them. Each of them relied on their family background to do whatever they wanted. Wasn't it just a little background and a little stinky money? No matter how sullen Zhao Liang was, in the hearts of these rich second generations, Zhao Liang wasn't even worth a fart. The bodyguards of these rich second generations held machetes in their hands. If he didn't find the best jade, they would chop off his fingers. Zhao Liang could only use his X-ray vision to check the raw stones in the room. In the end, he found a slightly better jade and let the person who opened the raw stones open it. Not bad, not bad. What's your name again? In the future, you will follow me, young Master Du. There will definitely be benefits for you. A rich second generation with the surname Du said arrogantly. Then he asked, how did you find the best raw stones? This skill made people curious and envious. If they could master this skill, they would be rich. Although these rich second generations didn't lack money, no one would complain about having too much money. Zhao Liang's face turned red. He was so sullen that he wanted to die. If he didn't find the best jade, these people would chop off his hands. He had shown this ability, and now they wanted to ask about his ability. What should he do? Did he have to tell these people that he had a special ability? His X-ray vision. These rich second generations would spread the news everywhere. They might even dig out his eyes. Therefore, he couldn't reveal that he had a special ability. Zhao Liang had wanted to find a bodyguard before, but now that he had just started his career, if he had a bodyguard by his side, it wouldn't be good for him. Zhao Liang was very sensitive in this aspect. Although he was rich, it didn't mean that his dignity was reflected. On the contrary, when he came into contact with people of higher status, their family background would crush him. This made him quite unhappy. Zhao Liang also wanted to invest in movies and enter the entertainment industry. There were many beautiful women in the entertainment industry, and money came quickly. However, all his plans might be destroyed by these rich second generations. Zhao Liang was so angry that he wanted to die. I'm asking you, how did you find the best jade? The rich second generation looked at Zhao Liang's unruly appearance and suddenly sneered. They had many ways to deal with people, regardless of whether they were a man or a woman. Did he think he could ascend to the heavens with just a little ability to distinguish jade? I'm asking you a question. Are you mute? Young Master Du kicked Zhao Liang in the chest. Zhao Liang coughed and covered his chest. His face was red, and his internal organs were in turmoil. He had an impulse to vomit blood. Looking at the fierce, fearless, and murderous faces of the rich second generations, Zhao Liang felt a little guilty. Looking at the shiny machetes, Zhao Liang was really afraid that these people would cut off his fingers. Zhao Liang blushed and said, "This is a secret recipe passed down in my family. I can't tell anyone. Do you think I'm easy to fool? Aren't your parents factory workers? If it's passed down from your ancestors, you wouldn't have been so poor before." For a rich second generation to eat, drink, and have fun, and to do it in an elegant and classy way, their brains worked very quickly. Zhao Liang's lying skills were not enough in front of them. Moreover, there were many people who tried to curry favor with them every day. What kind of evil ideas these people had, they could tell with just one look at their eyes. Don't treat everyone else as a sobby. Zhao Liang's face turned red, white, purple, and green. His face was extremely ugly. He covered his chest and didn't say a word. Do I look so easy to fool? Beat him up. Young Master Du ordered the bodyguards, pick the painful part for me. Hit wherever it hurts. These bodyguards were all retired Special Forces soldiers. They knew the human bones and body tissues very well. Zhao Liang gritted his teeth and let the bodyguard's fists hit his body. With a crack, his arm was dislocated. Zhao Liang lost because he didn't have a family background to protect himself. If he had a strong family background, no one would dare to touch him. But now that he was showing off, it would definitely attract the attention of people with ulterior motives. Zhao Liang was in so much pain that he took a deep breath. He gritted his teeth and said to the rich second generations sitting on the sofa, "I know the chief of the military region. Are you sure you want to be so ruthless?" Zhao Liang had treated the chief of the military region. Now he had no choice but to use his name. He was afraid that one was not enough, so he said, "An elder Ro, give me the phone. I'll make a call." Zhao Liang felt that the chief of the military region's phone was definitely not so easy to call. Now he called Elder Ro. No matter what, the Ro family had some ability. These second generations would definitely give the Ro family face. Zhao Liang could only hope that the Ro family would be more powerful. He didn't save Elder Ro in vain. The rich second generations looked at each other. They could have fun, but they couldn't let anything happen. If something really happened, it would affect their families. The elders in their families might skin them alive. These rich second generations still had some idea of what to do. The Ro family was not weak. Moreover, the Ro family and the Mo family were connected by marriage. As in-laws, the Ro family climbed up the big tree of the Mo family. They would definitely go further. These second generations thought about it in their hearts and threw the phone in front of Zhao Liang. It was just a phone call. If this guy was lying to them, Zhao Liang would be even more miserable. Zhao Liang dragged his dislocated arm and called in pain. He hoped that the person who would answer the phone must be the maid, Xiaoli. The phone was connected. It was Xiaoli who answered the phone. Zhao Liang hurriedly said, "Ask Elder Ro to answer the phone. Hurry up. If Elder Ro answers the phone, I'll give you an imperial green jade." Xiaoli's heart pounded when she answered the phone. Although Xiaoli was a maid, she also worked in a wealthy family. She had seen a lot of good things. Imperial green jade. Imperial green jade was a kind of jade and was extremely rare. Imperial green jade was the best color and the most valuable green jade. It was also known as emerald green and gave people a noble beauty. Imperial green jade referred to a unique color. Imperial green jade was very green and seemed to be flowing with oil. As long as you saw the imperial green jade, you would feel that kind of green. Imperial green jade was the best color. Many jades were priceless because they had imperial green jade. If she had an imperial green jade to take out, she would have a lot of face in front of her friends. And it was just asking Elder Rowe to answer the phone. It was too simple. Wait, I'll ask the old man to answer the phone right away. Shaoli put the phone on the table, turned around and hurried upstairs to call the old man, but she met Ning Shu at the stairs. Ning Shu looked at Shaoli faintly and asked, "What's the matter?" "It's Xiao Liang who saved the old man. He called and said it was an emergency." Shaoli said quickly. He was still thinking about his imperial green jade in his heart. Just read a refreshing novel. Chapter 2030. Falling in love with you, transmigrating canon fodder female supporting character counterattack. As long as the old man answers the phone, she can get an imperial green jade. Now that she was blocked, Shaoli was a little anxious. She was about to miss the imperial green jade. That was the best jade. Even if she didn't wear it, she could still sell it for a lot of money. Shaoli was very anxious in his heart. "Miss, the next call hasn't been hung up yet." "It's for the old man." Shaoli said again. "Well, I see. Go and make me a cup of coffee. I'll answer the phone." Ning Shu called Shaoli this. Shaoli looked at the old man's study and wanted to call him. Ning Shu asked, "What's the matter?" "I can't answer the phone." "No, Mississippi." Shaoli could only go downstairs to grind the coffee for Ning Shu. "It takes time to make coffee." Ning Shu picked up the phone and said, "Who is it?" From the moment the phone rang, Ning Shu used her spiritual power to pay attention to Shaoli. Seeing that Shaoli came upstairs, she guessed that he was going to find Grandpa, so she stopped Shaoli at the stairs. Zhao Liang was anxiously waiting for the phone to ring again. Hearing a clear and cold female voice, Zhao Liang's heart turned cold. Why is Ro Xueqiao answering the phone? If Elder Ro didn't answer the phone, Zhao Liang wasn't sure if Ro Xueqiao would help him. By the way, why didn't he call you Er? Er's family background is also good. Zhao Liang was so anxious that he actually went to the Ro family to ask for help. Finding a solution, Zhao Liang breathed a sigh of relief. At this time, he wanted to test his position in Ro Xueqiao's heart, so he said painfully, "I'm Zhao Liang. I was kidnapped." "Are you kidding? This kind of joke is not funny." Ning Shu said directly, "Why did you call the Ro family when you were kidnapped?" Zhao Liang's face suddenly turned red. Once again, he was sure that this stinky woman really had no feelings for him. She was a heartless woman. Zhao Liang was so angry that his arms were twisted into a fried dough twist. His face was distorted. Stinky woman, a stinky woman with her nose in the air. Ning Shu did not expect that someone would make a move on Zhao Liang so soon. Zhao Liang's history of making a fortune could not withstand the digging. He suddenly jumped up. Previously, Zhao Liang was very sleepy and had to borrow money from his schoolmates. Now that he suddenly had this ability, it was inevitable that people would be suspicious. Zhao Liang now completely viewed Ro Xueqiao as an enemy. What did he want this kind of woman for? He would become better in the future and make this woman regret it and kneel in front of him to beg him. In order to avoid being angered by Ning Shu to the point of vomiting blood, Zhao Liang immediately hung up the phone and called Yuer. However, his phone had been confiscated by these rich second generations, and he did not remember Yuer's phone number. Psychologically speaking, Zhao Liang was a bit of a male chauvinist. If he was asked to remember a woman's phone number, if it was in the past when he was poor and had nothing, he would have loved to have a girlfriend. But now, there were so many women that he didn't care at all. As a result, Zhao Liang couldn't remember Yu's phone number at all. At such a critical moment, he couldn't remember the phone number of the person who could save his life. Zhao Liang was extremely angry and said to the rich second generations, "Can you give me your phone? I'll make a call." Several rich second generations were already very impatient. "You're playing with me. One moment you say you know the chief, the next moment you say you know Elder Ro, and then you want to make a call. Let me tell you, it's useless no matter how you delay the time. Obediently tell us your secret technique. I know people from the Yu family. Yu Ling'er is my girlfriend, really." Zhao Liang quickly said, "If you don't believe me, let me make a call. Get lost. Do I really look so stupid? Let you play with me again and again." Young Master Du kicked Zhao Liang again. "If you don't tell us the secret today, don't think about leaving." Zhao Liang couldn't bear it anymore. Before, when he dealt with these people, he felt that he could deal with these rich second generations, but these rich second generations were insatiable. What should he do now? Unless it was a last resort, Zhao Liang didn't want to reveal his secret. What if he was caught for research? What if he was imprisoned? His beautiful life had just begun. "Give me a call. This is the last call. I'll let you do whatever you want with me." Zhao Liang still wanted to struggle, but young Master Du sneered and threw Zhao Liang's phone on Zhao Liang's body. It hurt when the phone hit Zhao Liang's body. Zhao Liang felt extremely humiliated. One day, he would make these people pay for it. And the families that connived with these rich second generations, none of them were good people. Zhao Liang flipped to Yu Ling'er's name and called her. On the other end of the phone, it said that the call was in progress. In progress, Zhao Liang was extremely angry. On the other side, Ning Shu was on the phone with Yu Ling'er. Yu Ling'er was very happy. The two of them hadn't contacted each other for a while. Yu Ling'er had a boyfriend, so it was inevitable that she would spend all her time with him. Sister Xue Qiao still called her so late. Ning Shu said, "What kind of person is your boyfriend?" "Sister Xue Qiao, let me tell you, Zhao Liang is a very good person." Ning Shu twitched the corner of his mouth. "What's so good about that? He has so many close female friends. Can you stand it? What's the difference between us and Zhao Liang? At least Zhao Liang is honest and treats everyone well. If you find a man of equal social status to marry, you will have to stay alone in an empty house after marriage. You still have to fulfill your responsibilities as a wife." What a joke. They don't even fulfill their responsibilities as husbands. What's the point? Yu Ling'er said directly. Ning Shu was speechless. The wife's name could at least guarantee his rights and interests. Zhao Liang's way of doing things was to dump you just like that. He wouldn't get anything and his rights and interests wouldn't be guaranteed. With power and influence, there were more temptations and more choices. If it was the poor Zhao Liang in the past, he would dare to do this. He had the capital and the confidence. So what if he wasn't loyal? What's this Zhao Liang doing? Ning Shu and Yu Ling'er talked about this and that. Zhao Liang had asked the Rou family for help, so he would probably ask Yu Ling'er for help as well. Don't forget that Yu Ling'er was Zhao Liang's girlfriend. Sister Xue Qiao, why are you paying so much attention to Zhao Liang now? Do you have feelings for him? To be honest, Xue Qiao, if you have taken a liking to Zhao Liang, I won't say anything. After all, we are best friends. Don't let others take advantage of you. Yu Ling said with a smile. Ning Shu was speechless. I have a fiancé. I won't snatch your boyfriend from you. It's just that there are so many women. Can you stand it? Such a proud girl actually compromised. Also, what's this Zhao Liang doing? Is he doing something illegal? Ning Shu had been talking to Yu Ling'er. The line was busy. Him. He's quite capable. He does everything. What's wrong? Yu Ling'er asked casually. Sister Xue Qiao, just bear it. I think you've fallen for Zhao Liang. Just read a novel. Chapter 2031. Falling in love with you, transmigrating canon fodder female supporting character counterattack. Ning Shu was speechless. Who would fall in love with Zhao Liang? To be honest, Zhao Liang was not handsome at all. There were acne marks on his face, and it gave people the impression that his face was dirty and oily. Beauty was in the eye of the beholder. Yu Ling'er looked at Zhao Liang with the effect of a skin polishing filter. Ning Shu had seen many handsome guys, both ancient and modern. Zhao Liang's ranking in Ning Shu's heart. Ning Shu looked at the time on the phone. They had talked for so long, and it was about time. She said, I think he must have offended someone. He called just now and said that someone kidnapped him. I think it's a prank. To be safe, I called you. Ah, really? Yu Ling'er on the other end of the phone panicked. How is he now? I don't know. He hung up before I could ask. I'm not sure if it's a prank. That's why I called you, Ning Shu said. Sister Xue Qiao, I'm hanging up now. Ning Shu heard Yu Ling'er's panicked voice over the phone. Ning Shu put down the phone and turned to see Xiao Li holding a cup of coffee and looking at her. Miss, it's so late. Can you sleep with coffee? Xiao Li asked reluctantly. She couldn't get the old man to answer the phone. Did she lose her imperial jade? Why did she have to answer the phone? Xiao Li looked at the hung-up phone, and his face was full of disappointment and annoyance. Ning Shu took the cup of coffee from Xiao Li's hand. You know it's late. If it's not someone important, Grandpa has to answer the phone. Grandpa is a light sleeper. If he wakes up, he can't sleep. Don't let Grandpa answer the phone all the time. Yes, Mississippi. I'll remember, Xiao Li stammered. Ning Shu went upstairs with the coffee, leaving Xiao Li stamping his feet. He could only watch as a sum of money floated in front of him, but he couldn't catch it. Ning Shu smirked. She had at least informed Yu Ling about this matter. As for what happened during the time she wasted arguing, she couldn't guarantee. Even if Zhao Liang wanted to ask her for an explanation, it wouldn't make sense. I helped you inform Yu Ling'er when you were kidnapped. How dare you accuse me and the Rou family of being ungrateful? She didn't know who was targeting Zhao Liang. It probably wouldn't be easy to get rid of them. Otherwise, he wouldn't have called Old Master Rou. But she blocked it. Even if she blocked it, she would have helped you call for help. She and Yu Ling'er talked for more than 10 minutes. As for what happened in the past 10 minutes, God knows. Ever since Zhao Liang got his X-ray vision, his life had been smooth sailing, whether it was his career or his pursuit of women. Now that this kind of thing happened, it was good to let Zhao Liang suffer a little loss. And from today onwards, Zhao Liang would be targeted by a lot of people. Stone gambling was very profitable, otherwise, there wouldn't be so many people involved in this risky business. It was just gambling to get rich overnight. Now that someone had a 90% chance of getting a top-grade jade, it would drive people crazy. Yu Ling'er got Ning Shu's hint and started to locate Zhao Liang's phone. She led a group of people to the place where Zhao Liang was locked up. Yu Ling'er and Ning Shu talked for a while, then found the location of Zhao Liang's phone, which wasted some time. When Yu Ling'er arrived at the place where Zhao Liang was locked up, she found Zhao Liang lying on the ground, curled up like a cooked shrimp. Zhao Liang. Yu Ling'er hurried over and saw Zhao Liang holding his other hand with one hand, dripping with blood. There was also a broken index finger on the ground. Yu Ling'er felt like she had been struck by lightning. She quickly called an ambulance. Zhao Liang was in so much pain that his consciousness was blurred. Seeing Yu Ling'er come, Zhao Liang breathed a sigh of relief, but he was also a little angry. Why did she come so late? What was the use of coming? In order to protect his secret, Zhao Liang endured the pain of losing his finger. Zhao Liang knew that this special ability was hard to come by. It was all he could rely on. He had been calling Yuling, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't get through. He had completely angered this group of rich second generations, and now his finger was cut off. Zhao Liang was so angry and anxious that he fainted. Yuling endured the horror and picked up the finger on the ground. If he didn't lose too much blood, the finger could be reattached, but it wouldn't be as flexible as before. Yuling stared at these rich second generations and gritted her teeth. How dare you touch my man? You should have come and taken your man away earlier. Yuling, are you going to offend the Du family for such a person? Although Du Xiao felt a little guilty, it had already happened. There was no point in saying more. We have so many people. What can you do to us? They had several people on their side. If Yuling wanted to pursue the matter, she would offend several families. Yuling sneered and turned around to get into the ambulance. She looked at the unconscious Zhao Liang anxiously. The rich second generations looked at each other. Although they felt a little guilty, they didn't expect this idiot to really be Yuling's boyfriend. What kind of taste did Yuling have? Would the Yu family really accept such a son-in-law? Yuling could only pray that Zhao Liang was fine. If she had come earlier, Zhao Liang might have been fine. Ning Shu woke up with a kick. From the private investigator, he found out that Zhao Liang was in the hospital. The specific situation was that someone had chopped off his finger. Ning Shu chuckled. How could Zhao Liang treat people without fingers? He was originally a dabbler, relying on the advantage of his X-ray vision. Because of this skill, many big shots owed Zhao Liang a favor. No matter what problems Zhao Liang encountered, he could solve them with a knife. It couldn't be helped. After all, he had someone above him. Ning Shu still went to learn about nursing and traditional Chinese medicine every day. He also looked for prescriptions for body weakness. The Mo family should have noticed his actions. Seeing Ning Shu's actions, the client's father nodded in agreement. It was more convenient for a married couple to take care of people. Ning Shu also bought a basket of fruits to visit Zhao Liang. The reason for visiting Zhao Liang was because of her best friend, Yuling. Yuling slept beside Zhao Liang's bed. Ning Shu saw that Zhao Liang's right index finger was chopped off, but it seemed to have been reattached. He didn't know what kind of person would choose the right hand to chop off fingers. Moreover, it was the index finger that was used more frequently. If the thumb was chopped off, it would be even more inconvenient. Sister Xueqiao, you're here. Yuling rubbed her eyes and thanked Ning Shu when she saw her. Thank you for informing me. Ning Shu shook his head and said, I thought it was a prank. I didn't even get to ask about the situation before he hung up. Fortunately, I called you. Otherwise, Zhao Liang would be in danger. You should go wash up too. Ning Shu put down the basket of fruits and was about to leave. Just read a refreshing novel. Chapter 2032. Falling in love with you, transmigrating canon fodder female supporting character counterattack. Ning Shu was really afraid that Zhao Liang would think that she had feelings for him after he woke up. That would be a huge misunderstanding. Yuling stopped Ning Shu and asked, Sister Xueqiao, why do you think there are people who don't like Zhao Liang and want to find trouble with him? Perhaps in the hearts of Zhao Liang's women, Zhao Liang was the best man in the world. However, in the eyes of others, Zhao Liang's way of doing things was quite disgraceful. It was normal for those who had a little capital to enjoy the good fortune of having multiple wives. After all, those who controlled most of the society's resources enjoyed money and women. They had more rights to choose. However, Zhao Yang's resources were really, how's his hand? Ning Shu asked softly. It's already reconnected. However, it was reconnected, so it's not as flexible as before. Yu Ling said helplessly. I won't let those guys off. Ning Shu already knew who was the one who attacked Zhao Liang. These people were basically devils who dared to do anything. To put it bluntly, they bullied the weak and feared the strong. They would never offend someone they couldn't afford to offend. Zhao Liang was just an ordinary person. If it weren't for the stone gambling skill, these people wouldn't have noticed Zhao Liang at all. Zhao Liang must have provoked them in some way. They shouldn't have any grudges. Ning Shu said casually. Do you know your boyfriend well? Yu Ling didn't say anything. Ning Shu left the ward and went to learn about nursing. As for how Zhao Liang couldn't accept reality after he woke up, it was none of Ning Shu's business. According to Zhao Liang's stinginess, this matter would definitely be blamed on him and Yu Ling. Ning Shu didn't care, but he didn't know how Yu Ling would endure her boyfriend's hatred. Ning Shu learned about nursing. On the way home, he passed by the ward and saw Yu Ling busying herself. Zhao Liang was lying on the bed with an ashen face. It was obvious that he was angry. Ning Shu's lips twitched. Because of love, Ning Shu really couldn't see what was so good about Zhao Liang that he deserved Yu Ling's money, looks, and talent. Moreover, Yu Ling was also a little selfish. Zhao Liang was injured, but only Yu Ling took care of Zhao Liang. In order to make her presence known to Zhao Liang, she did not inform the other women and took care of Zhao Liang alone. Feeding him, wiping his body, carrying his excrement and urine, she didn't need to be too attentive. No matter what others said about Zhao Liang, Yu Ling wouldn't leave Zhao Liang. Moreover, she wanted to prove to those who were against her that she had made the right choice. Because of love, however, Zhao Liang's love was only about conquering. Conquering a girl that he could only drool over in the past, how could there be any love? Ning Shu snorted and went straight away. She didn't want to get involved in Zhao Liang's affairs. There was no end to it. At that time, he would come to ruin her wedding. When Ning Shu returned home, she found that there were guests in the house. It was a couple in their 40s. When they saw Ning Shu, they smiled. Old Man Ro quickly said to Ning Shu, say hello to Uncle Mo and Auntie. Ning Shu thought for a moment and knew that they should be Mo Ming's parents. The man was mature and steady. He had a scholarly aura. The woman was gentle and charming. She was petite and her face was a little pale. She was probably not in good health. Ning Shu smiled and greeted them, Uncle, Auntie. Very good. You are a good daughter. Mo Ming's mother looked at Ning Shu with satisfaction and asked, have you been studying nursing recently? Ning Shu nodded, yes, I have been studying nursing. I also learned some Chinese medicine from Dr. Wu. Very good. This time, it was Mo Ming's father who spoke. Old Man Ro Ning Shu said, go upstairs. Ning Shu nodded and went upstairs. If he guessed correctly, Mo Ming's parents must be discussing the date of their wedding. In any case, they were going to marry Mo Ming. Not only for the Ro family, but also to get rid of Zhao Liang, who felt that all the beauties in the world had to bow down to him. He didn't believe that Zhao Liang would still pester them after they got married. With the Mo family in the Ro family's power, Zhao Liang wouldn't be able to get anything out of it. During dinner, Old Man Ro announced the date of Ning Shu and Mo Ming's wedding. They would be getting married in half a month. It was the first time in his life that he was going to get married. Moreover, he didn't even have a specific impression of the other party. The delicate and weak Mo Ming rarely appeared in the public eye. Even the people who entrusted him rarely saw Mo Ming. Ning Shu wasn't worried that Mo Ming was ugly at all. His parents were handsome and beautiful. No matter how they mutated, they wouldn't be ugly. Even his weak body could be accepted. As for his appearance, it was ranked behind. In the past half a month, Ning Shu had been preparing for the wedding. The Rou family had also prepared a lot of dowry for her. Ning Shu was almost married to Mo Ming with the Rou family's expectations. In half a month, Zhao Liang's injury shouldn't have healed yet. This way, he wouldn't come to make a scene at her wedding. Moreover, Zhao Liang had no reason to make a scene at her wedding. Half a month passed in a flash. As the marriage between the Rou family and the Mo family, it was still very grand. Ning Shu wore a white wedding dress and entered the luxury car accompanied by her family. There was a man sitting in the car. When he saw Ning Shu, he smiled, revealing a pair of canine teeth. He was very sunny and handsome. Such a healthy Mo Ming. Hello, sister-in-law. I'm Mo Zhe. I'm here to pick up the bride on behalf of my brother. My brother's health is a little bad. Please take care of him, Mo Zhe said to Ning Shu with a smile. A pair of smiling eyes stared at Ning Shu's face. He didn't miss any expression on Ning Shu's face. Ning Shu didn't have much feelings about whether Mo Ming came to pick up the bride or not. She said directly, his health is important. The formalities are not important. Okay, thank you, sister-in-law. Mo Zhe saw that Ning Shu didn't care very much and said with a smile. The car slowly started. A long line of luxury cars almost occupied the entire street. The speed of the car wasn't fast. Ning Shu sat in the car, bored. Her phone rang. It was Yuling, her. When she picked up, Yuling screamed, "Sister Xue Xiao, you're getting married and I didn't tell you. What's the meaning of this? Don't you have to take care of your boyfriend? That's why I didn't inform you." Ning Shu said directly. If Yuling knew, it meant that Zhao Liang knew. In order to prevent accidents, Ning Shu had already excluded Yuling, her. He didn't expect Yuling, to know. Ning Shu rubbed her forehead. It would be ugly if she made a scene at the wedding. Sister-in-law, is there a problem? Mo Zhe saw that Ning Shu's expression wasn't good. Tell me, I'll think of a way for you. No one can bully my sister-in-law. Bullying you is equivalent to bullying my brother. Ning Shu raised her eyebrows. She suddenly understood why the Rou family tried so hard to let her marry into the Mo family. Ning Shu very unkindly told Mo Zhe everything. It was easy to get into trouble if this kind of thing was hidden. It was very important to be honest. If she was sneaky, it would be criticized. Just read a novel. Chapter 2033. Falling in Love with You, Transmigrating Canon Fodder Female Supporting Character Counterattack. Ning Shu told Mo Zhe everything without missing a single detail. Since they were going to get married, they were going to be a family. It was better to let the Mo family know what was going on than to let them come knocking on their door and embarrass themselves. But there was another possibility, which was to make the Mo family impatient. He just wanted to marry a wife, but it brought so much trouble. Hearing Ning Shu's explanation, Mose asked, when did this Zhao Liang appear? In the eyes of these people, Zhao Liang was a nobody. Every social class had its own social circle. People like Mose would not have any contact with Zhao Liang. He still has feelings for you. Mose's expression was strange. The corner of his mouth twitched. Doesn't he know that you already have a fiancé? Ning Shu said, you don't know that there is a kind of person in this world who thinks highly of himself. He thinks that every woman will fall in love with him. Even if he already has many women by his side, these women will be dead set on him. All of them will get along with each other like sisters. What kind of weirdo? Mose was speechless. You think this person came back to the wedding to cause trouble? Don't look at weirdos with the eyes of a normal person. Maybe in his heart, I betrayed him. Ning Shu shrugged. I'm helpless too. Wait. Mose took out his phone and his fingers quickly tapped on the screen. He was probably texting. Then, he put his phone away and said, "I've already told Uncle about these things. You don't have to worry. Since you married into the Mo family, I won't let anyone hurt you. Please take good care of my cousin. My cousin's health is not very good." Ning Shu cracked a smile and said, "I know. Tell me more about this Zhao Liang." When it came to people who were a threat, he had to be prepared. Anyway, the car was very slow and the road was quite boring. Ning Shu told Mose about the recent kidnapping of Zhao Liang. "Sister-in-law, what you're saying is too much of a fantasy. You said that Zhao Liang's family was just an ordinary working family, but how did they suddenly have such power? Du Jun and the others wanted to dig out Zhao Liang's secret, and Yu Ling Er was actually his girlfriend. Turning into a Mr. Perfect in such a short time, it's very surreal," Mose said as he shook his head. Ning Shu said, "Maybe Zhao Liang had some fortuitous encounter, and Du Jun and the others want to get this fortuitous encounter." Mose propped his head with his fingers and tilted his head to think about something. Finally, he said, "Sister-in-law, today is your wedding day with brother. Let's not talk about such upsetting things." Ning Shu nodded and secretly lifted her strapless wedding dress to prevent it from slipping down. In the hospital, Yu Ling'er knew that her best friend was getting married, so she prepared to go home and prepare for the wedding. She had been taking care of Zhao Liang in the hospital for more than half a month. Zhao Liang probably couldn't accept the fact that he was disabled, so his temper was a little bad. He also complained about Ning Shu and Yu Ling'er. Anyway, he didn't give Yu Ling'er a good look. Yu Ling'er worked hard without complaint, and sometimes she would sleep on the sofa in the ward when she was tired. The proud Yu Ling'er tried to make herself understand Zhao Liang's feelings. She was a little princess at home, but she was so humble in front of Zhao Liang. Zhao Liang looked up and saw Yu Ling'er leaving with her bag. He couldn't help but ask, "Where are you going?" Yu Ling'er had been taking care of him all this time. If Yu Ling'er left, Zhao Liang would be a little uncomfortable, but he couldn't tell his parents at home and make them worry. "I'm going to attend the wedding. If you need anything, you can call the nurse or other girls." When Yu Ling'er mentioned Zhao Liang's confidant, her tone was very sour. But she also knew that this man didn't belong to her alone. She didn't know why she had this mentality, but it seemed to be a matter of course. "Wedding? Whose wedding?" Zhao Liang asked. For Yu Ling'er to attend the wedding, her family must be powerful. Why didn't he receive an invitation? Since he became rich, Zhao Liang could be considered to have squeezed into the upper class. When he attended some high-end banquets, some people would invite Zhao Liang if there were any weddings or funerals. Zhao Liang's face was a little ugly. "You know this person too. Rou Xueqiao is getting married to Mo Ming from the Mo family." Yu Ling'er said. "What did you say? Who's getting married?" Zhao Liang straightened his back and stared straight at Yu Ling'er. His voice was so loud that it scared Yu Ling'er. Yu Ling'er was favored by the heavens and had been taking care of Zhao Liang all this time. However, Zhao Liang only cared about his fingers every day. It wasn't like she was the one who broke his fingers. "Why are you so loud? Rou Xueqiao is getting married," Yu Ling'er said unhappily. "My sister Xueqiao is getting married. Why are you so agitated?" Zhao Liang directly used his left hand to pull out the infusion needle in his right hand. He lifted the blanket and got off the bed. Yu Ling'er was shocked and asked, "What are you doing? Your body hasn't recovered yet." "I'm going to the wedding with you." Zhao Liang gritted his teeth and said. Zhao Liang didn't accept Rou Xueqiao's marriage at all. He hadn't conquered Rou Xueqiao and made her repent for what she had done. Now she was going to throw herself into someone else's arms. No man could tolerate such a thing. Just like Ning Shu said, Zhao Liang now felt that he had been betrayed. Rou Xueqiao was the woman he liked. He loved and hated this woman. If she was living a miserable life, Zhao Liang might not be so persistent. But she was going to marry into the Mo family, and she was going to be beautiful. Zhao Liang felt uncomfortable. He couldn't accept that this woman didn't have any feelings for him at all. The frustration of not being able to conquer this woman had been circling in Zhao Liang's heart, brewing an indescribable feeling of anger and betrayal. But your body isn't good. It's just a wedding. I'm just going to go through the motions. Your body is the most important thing now. The doctor said that if there's a problem with your wound, your fingers will really be crippled. Yu Ling'er persuaded Zhao Liang earnestly as she looked at her watch. Zhao Liang hated it when people questioned him, especially when his fingers were mentioned. When Yu Ling'er said that, he felt that Yu Ling'er looked down on his hand and thought that he was useless. My body is still unclear. Can't I attend the wedding? Zhao Liang said angrily. Yu Ling'er frowned and guessed a possibility. She asked, Zhao Liang, do you like Sister Xueqiao? Is that why you're so excited when Sister Xueqiao is getting married? You don't even care about your own health. Zhao Liang laughed coldly. I don't like your Sister Xueqiao. I have something to do. Just read a novel. Chapter 2034. Falling in love with you, transmigrating canon fodder female supporting character counterattack anyway. Zhao Liang couldn't accept letting Wuxia marry someone else peacefully. Yu Ling had a bad feeling in her heart. Zhao Liang, Sister Xueqiao and I have been friends since we were young. I don't want anything to happen to you because of your friend's wedding. You should rest well. Yu Ling'er was afraid that there would be no end to this and hurriedly left. Zhao Liang sneered. Could it be that he couldn't go alone? Zhao Liang made a phone call. Not long after, a stylist came to the hospital to do Zhao Liang's hair. However, Zhao Liang's hand was injured. When he was wearing clothes, he couldn't touch the wound. A man needs clothes, and a Buddha relies on gold. After this, Zhao Liang looked a little better. He left the hospital, got into a luxury car, and went to Mo's house. In addition to Zhao Liang, there were a few bodyguards wearing sunglasses in the luxury car. Last time, he was caught by those rich second generations because he was unprepared. The price he paid was the loss of a finger. Fortunately, the secret was kept, and he could still continue to develop. Zhao Liang's face was gloomy. Although Yu Ling'er said that Wuxia had called Yu Ling'er to save him, Zhao Liang still didn't mind answering the call. Wuxia said, you were kidnapped. Why are you calling the Rou family? That arrogant tone made people want to rape her and see how arrogant she was. Zhao Liang checked the man Wuxia was going to marry. He was actually a sickly person. She chose the sickly person over him. Wasn't it because she liked the Mu family? What a vain woman. The wedding convoy slowly drove to the Mo family's entrance. The entrance was blocked. Mo Zhe got out of the car first and ran to the other side to open the door for Ning Shu. Ning Shu was about to get out of the car when a hand reached in front of her. This hand was very white and very thin. It was almost wrapped in a layer of bones. The joints were a little scary. This should be Mo Ming's hand. Ning Shu raised her hand and placed it on this hand. Through the wedding gloves, Ning Shu could feel that this hand was a little cold. Ning Shu got out of the car and looked at the owner of this hand. Mo Ming was thinner than Ning Shu had imagined. His skin was sickly pale and his facial features were handsome. He was very quiet and gave off a gentle feeling. Mo Ming saw his future wife staring at him. Ning Shu nodded. His attitude towards Ning Shu wasn't that warm. However, he was waiting outside for Ning Shu. It wasn't that he was neglecting her. It seemed that Mo Ming wasn't very happy about the marriage. The two of them walked into the villa hand in hand. Ning Shu walked very slowly, mainly because she was worried about the person beside her. She felt that Mo Ming was a little out of breath. From the corner of her eyes, she saw Mo Ming tightly pursing his pale lips. He was probably holding on. His body was very weak. Because Mo Ming's body wasn't very good, everyone knew not to make a fuss. The whole wedding was a little quiet. Everyone just looked at Ning Shu and Mo Ming silently. Ning Shu was worried that Mo Ming wouldn't be able to walk to the room. She might even have to princess carry Mo Ming back to the room. That would be speechless. Mo Ming probably stood outside for too long and his body couldn't take it anymore. Wait a minute. A discordant voice sounded. Ning Shu's heart didn't waver. She knew this would happen. She turned and looked at Zhao Liang, who was in a suit. He still appeared. She knew that Zhao Liang wasn't satisfied. Ning Shu saw Zhao Liang's expression. If she didn't know, she would think that she had hurt him. It was just that his desire to conquer was not satisfied. Ning Shu went closer to Mo Ming, who was frowning, and said, "Don't be anxious. Just take it as a good show." Ning Shu was really afraid that Mo Ming would fall to the ground like in the plot. Of course, it was probably because Mo Ming's body couldn't take it anymore. Ning Shu said to the wedding waiter, "Please give me a chair." Although the waiter was a little surprised, he still brought a white chair over. Ning Shu easily took the chair and placed it behind Mo Ming. He said, "Sit down and rest for a while." When the time came, if Mo Ming's body couldn't take it anymore and fell, even if the Mo family didn't have any opinions about her, the people who came to the wedding would talk about it. Gossip was what people liked to gossip the most. Mo Ming didn't say anything and sat down. His body was indeed a little tired. Also, who was this person who suddenly appeared? Mo Ming's body wasn't very good. He didn't pay much attention to the situation outside, especially to someone like Zhao Liang who suddenly appeared. Zhao Liang saw that Ning Shu didn't care and was very unhappy. He sneered and walked in. The surrounding people came to watch the show. Even if he couldn't do anything to Rou Xueqiao, he had to make Rou Xueqiao's life in the Mo family difficult. Before Zhao Liang could speak, Ning Shu spoke first. "Where's Yu'er? Why didn't you come with Yu'er?" Zhao Liang choked and said in a low voice, "Are you sure you want to marry such a sick person?" Zhao Liang looked at Mo Ming who was sitting on the chair. Because of his good family, Mo Ming was gentle and looked very educated. However, no matter what, he was still a person with an unhealthy body. Zhao Liang used his X-ray vision to see that Mo Ming's internal organs were deteriorating to different degrees. Mo Ming was more or less waiting for death. "You're really vain," Zhao Liang said disdainfully. If a woman chose a man who was better than another man, the man would angrily accuse the woman of being vain because he was incompetent. Ning Shu had a face of confusion. "Where's your girlfriend, Yu Ling, her?" He already had a girlfriend, but he still looked like he wanted to save her. Go to the entertainment center to save her. There were too many girls who had fallen. The surrounding people were confused. Ning Shu said again, "Didn't someone chop off your finger? Why aren't you recuperating in the hospital? Didn't I tell you that your girlfriend doesn't have to come to the wedding?" Ning Shu kept emphasizing the word girlfriend. How could he have the nerve to act like he was hurt? His finger was chopped off. Only if he had offended someone would he be treated like this. Everyone looked at Zhao Liang's bandaged finger. Zhao Liang was unusually irritated. He put his hand behind his back, not letting these people see his crippled finger. Everyone here had a strong background. Since the Mo family was holding a wedding, they would definitely invite people from the upper class. These people looked at Zhao Liang at the same time. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on Zhao Liang's body. Zhao Liang almost couldn't bear it. Zhao Liang, who had suddenly become rich, still felt weak facing these people. He also felt that these people were looking down on him. Seeing Zhao Liang's face turn red, Ning Shu felt that if he didn't come, these things wouldn't have happened. Now, he felt that others had insulted him. Feeling that you're always right. Ning Shu said again, you came with Yu Er, or alone. I'll be thick-skinned and ask you for a congratulatory gift. At the same time, I'll also thank you for coming to my wedding. Just read a refreshing novel. Chapter 2035. Falling in love with you, transmigrating canon fodder female supporting character counterattack. How thick-skinned. Who would ask for a gift? She betrayed him and still wanted a gift. Zhao Liang's face turned green. He was here to cause trouble, not to attend the wedding banquet. Ning Shu continued, Yu Er is my best friend. We grew up together. I hope you can treat Yu Er well from time to time. Don't mess around with other girls. Just treat a girl well. In my opinion, Yu Er should break up with you. Although I don't know what's so good about you, you're Yu Er's boyfriend. I can't say anything. Everyone understood the message in Ning Shu's words. This brat was actually the boyfriend of the Yu family's youngest daughter. Moreover, he was a playboy with more than one girlfriend. He really knew how to play. He dared to treat the Yu family's daughter like this. Wasn't he afraid that the Yu family would be unhappy with him? Most people didn't know who this person was. He was so rude and had no manners at all. You ungrateful woman. Zhao Liang felt the gazes of the people around him. He pointed at Ning Shu in exasperation. He was originally full of vigor, but now he was like a balloon that was punctured by a needle, leaking air. He didn't expect the arrogant Rou Xueqiao to be so talkative, blabbering non-stop, exposing his matters. At this time, even if he said that the two of them had an affair, people would only think that he was a toad wanting to eat swan meat. He had Yuling air and was still thinking about Rou Xueqiao. He was shameless. Moreover, he wasn't that good-looking. People of the same sex looked at people of the same sex harshly. When men looked at Zhao Liang, they felt that the arrogant Yuling heir actually fell for such a man. Of course, the person who chose the main character would prove that he was the right choice. Zhao Liang was like most men. He wasn't good with words. After being nagged by Ning Shu, he really couldn't bring himself to quarrel with Ning Shu. Feeling the gazes of the people around him, his face turned green. Sister-in-law, this is the Zhao Liang you were talking about. Mo stood up and looked Zhao Liang up and down. Zhao Liang felt a little embarrassed. He felt that this person was looking at him with contempt and disdain. Hey, Zhao Liang, why are you here? Yuling walked over with a glass of red wine in her hand when she saw that everyone was blocking the way. Even though she was attending her best friend's wedding, Yuling was not happy at all. She did not know if she would ever be able to wear a wedding dress and walk into the hall of love with the person she loved. However, Zhao Liang was a sentimental person who liked to collect beautiful women. She was not the only one, nor would she be the last. Don't all women desire to be the only one, to be able to completely own someone? Furthermore, Yuling saw that the person Sister Xueqiao was going to marry was not bad. The only flaw was that his body was not very good. As a disciple of the Mo family, there was no need to worry about food or clothing. Sister Xueqiao could be considered to have found a home. There was no such thing as perfection in this world. Although Zhao Liang was a healthy person, he was sentimental. Furthermore, she felt that Zhao Liang seemed to be drooling over Rou Xueqiao. Rou Xueqiao's temperament and beauty were famous in their circle. According to Zhao Liang's sentimental nature, it was normal for him to have feelings for Rou Xueqiao. Yuling's heart was sour, but she accepted it. She could only comfort herself that the two of them could work together to deal with other women. Yuling forced herself to accept such a ridiculous thought. Then she accepted it, and finally she accepted it. Yuling did not expect Zhao Liang to come and cause trouble at the wedding. He was obviously here to cause trouble. She quickly went over and asked, "Why are you here? Your wound can't get infected." Could she not mention it in front of him? Previously, he had been laughed at. Now that Yu Ling mentioned it again, Zhao Liang was very unhappy. He had seen the looks in these people's eyes clearly. It was as if he was the one who was climbing up Yu Ling's social status. However, he would also create a wealthy family in the future. He would definitely not be inferior to the Yu family. Now, Zhao Liang was taking his anger out on Yu Ling. Yu Ling's eyes were a little red. She felt that ever since Zhao Liang was injured and frustrated, his temper had become worse. Ning Shu said, "Yu Ling, thank you for coming to my wedding. You have to be happy too." Ning Shu passed the bouquet in his hand to Yu Ling and hugged her. "I hope to be able to attend your wedding soon." Yu Ling held the bouquet. Ning Shu smiled and said, "Sister Xueqiao, thank you." Yu Ling pulled Zhao Liang and wanted to pull him away. Yu Ling's stubbornness came up again. She kept feeling wronged when she was with Zhao Liang. She asked, "Do you want to marry me?" Zhao Liang was speechless. Zhao Liang, who had died before he could succeed, turned around and left. Mo Zhe arranged for security to not let Zhao Liang in again. What did he think the Mo family was? Any random cat or dog could bark at them. Did he think that they were easy to bully? After leaving the Mo family, Yu Ling directly threw the bouquet into the bin. She turned around and said to Zhao Liang, "I advise you to give up. Sister Xueqiao is already married." Zhao Liang ignored Yu Ling. Yu Ling stomped her feet and asked directly, "Zhao Liang, what do you mean? Do you want to break up? I'm not worthy of the Yu family. Let's break up." Zhao Liang did not want to be suppressed by the Yu family all day long. Moreover, there were so many girls. Zhao Liang did not have the time to coax a rich young lady. Zhao Liang had many choices. He did not care about a woman at all. Because he had the capital, he did not care about gains and losses. He was not afraid of losing at all. Zhao Liang was very angry with Yu Ling. He thought that Yu Ling should persuade her best friend not to marry that sickly person. There was no happiness at all. But Yu Ling was indifferent. Zhao Liang sat in the car. The bodyguard closed the door and blocked Yu Ling outside. Zhao Liang felt that his finger was a little red and swollen. He hurriedly said to the driver, "Go to the hospital now." The abnormality of his finger was like a bucket of ice water poured on Zhao Liang's body. He did not want to lose a finger. Even if it was not very flexible, at least he had all 10 fingers. When they arrived at the hospital, Zhao Liang hurriedly looked for the doctor. The doctor said that the wound was infected. If it continued to be infected, the stitches would be removed. The finger could not be reconnected. Zhao Liang didn't dare to make a fuss anymore. It was related to his fingers. He didn't want people to say that he was a 9-fingered man in the future. No matter how great his achievements were in the future, with such a flaw, it could become a flaw that others would attack and laugh at. When he recovered in the future, he would definitely teach that woman and the Mo family a lesson. Today's humiliation would be returned tenfold in the future. After the farce was over, Ning Shu and Mo Ming were sent to the new room. Then the others closed the door. There were only 2 people in the room. It was very quiet. Just read a refreshing novel. Chapter 2036. Falling in Love with You, Transmigrating Canon Fodder Female Supporting Character Counterattack. The 2 of them sat by the bed and didn't speak. Ning Shu looked at Mo Ming's body. If he really pounced on him, Mo Ming probably wouldn't even have half a life left. You first. Mo Ming's voice was a little weak as he looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu asked, "Do you want to drink water? I'll get you a cup of water." "Thank you." Mo Ming nodded. he probably felt a little uncomfortable. His face was a little pale and his brows were tightly knitted. Ning Shu stood up and poured a cup of warm water for Mo Ming from the kettle on the coffee table. Mo Ming took the cup and drank 2 mouthfuls. Ning Shu sat beside Mo Ming and said, "I need to explain today's matter to you." Fortunately, Mo Ming didn't directly collapse. Otherwise, the Mo family would hate her to death. Mo Ming held the cup. The veins on the back of his pale hand bulged. Because he was too thin, the veins bulged. Ning Shu had seen such a pale hand before. Even though the hand of an abyssal prefect was pale, it was like a hand stretched out from a manga. There were no bones as prominent as Mo Ming's. "Speak." Mo Ming said softly. "At the wedding, I had to take the initiative. Otherwise, Zhao Liang would slander me for having an affair with him. At that time, the Mo family and the Rou family would lose face. She was too active at the wedding. It wasn't her turn as a newlywed wife to jump up and down. You did the right thing." Mo Ming said, "I don't blame you. Moreover, my body is really not good." Ning Shu saw that Mo Ming didn't care. He immediately smiled and said, "What's wrong with the body? Take your time to recover. She had a terminal illness when she was alive. Didn't she struggle at death's door for so many years? I learned nursing. I can take good care of you in the future." Ning Shu saw that Mo Ming didn't drink water. He took the cup in his hand and placed it on the small coffee table. "Do you want to take a bath?" Ning Shu grabbed the rose petals on the bed and put them aside. He began to tidy the bed. "Can I ask you something?" Mo Ming looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu nodded. "Go ahead. Why are you willing to marry me?" Mo Ming asked. Ning Shu suddenly smiled, "I thought you would ask me if I had an affair with Zhao Liang. We are engaged. If I don't marry you, who else can I marry?" Ning Shu said, "You just need to take care of your body. Besides, you're a member of the Mo family. You're handsome and rich. Other than your body, everything else about you is fine." Mo Ming remained silent and stood up. "I'm going to take a shower. Call me if you need anything." When Mo Ming went to take a shower, Ning Shu went to the cloakroom to change out of the wedding dress and put on comfortable and casual clothes. Then, he waited at the door of the bathroom. What if something happened to Mo Ming? She would just treat it as taking care of a child. When Mo Ming came out, he was wearing a bathrobe. The part of his chest that was exposed was very thin. "Do you want to take a shower? Go in." Mo Ming turned sideways to let Ning Shu in. Ning Shu nodded. When Ning Shu came out of the shower, Mo Ming had already fallen asleep on the bed. His brows were furrowed in his sleep. Ning Shu reached out and touched Mo Ming's head. It was a little hot. Ning Shu immediately went downstairs to look for his in-laws and told them that Mo Ming had a fever. The Mo family had a resident specialist doctor. Immediately, the new room became a ward. There were doctors and nurses inside. Mo Ming's mother was a little embarrassed and said to Ning Shu, "Mo Ming must have stood under the sun for too long and caught the wind. If something like this happened on their wedding night, no woman would be able to take it." Mo Ming's mother only hoped that her daughter-in-law would not make a fuss at this time. Ning Shu nodded. He was already prepared for this. After working until dawn, Missouri Ming's condition finally stabilized. After everyone left, Ning Shu closed the door and lay beside Mo Ming. Mo Ming had not woken up. There was an 4 drip by the bed. Tsk, poor child. He was on a saline drip on his wedding night. Ning Shu pressed his finger on Mo Ming's wrist and felt his pulse. Mo Ming's body was extremely weak. A slight cold could be a disaster for Mo Ming. He was so weak. He had been carefully taken care of to survive until now. His body was like a broken water tank. It could not hold water at all. No matter how much water was poured into it, the holes in his body would take away his vitality. A broken body. The human body was really a magical existence. It seemed that it was not easy to nurse Mo Ming's body back to health. His internal organs were starting to fail. Mo Ming's digestive ability might not be good. Ordinary people could eat anything. Mo Ming could only eat a little liquid food or even an 4-drip to maintain his physiological functions. The situation was more serious than she had imagined. No wonder in the plot, Mo Ming collapsed and died not long after. His body had reached its limit. Ning Shu transferred a strand of spiritual energy that was thinner than a strand of hair into Mo Ming's body. This spiritual energy was all that Ning Shu had obtained during this period of time. Moreover, she had found a quiet and secluded place in the park and removed all kinds of impurities. Only then was she able to obtain such a small amount of spiritual energy. From tomorrow onwards, he would cook medicinal food for Mo Ming. Of course, it had to be cooked to a pulp. Otherwise, it would not be easy to digest. Ning Shu yawned and closed his eyes to rest for a while. When there was movement in the villa in the morning, Ning Shu washed up and prepared to go downstairs to meet the elders. When Ning Shu went downstairs, his father-in-law was reading the newspaper. His mother-in-law asked the servants to make breakfast. When she saw Ning Shu, she asked, "Why didn't you rest more? You woke up so early." "It's the first morning. I woke up early to say hello to Mom and Dad," Ning Shu said. Since he was married, he had to maintain a good relationship with his mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. It was the most torturous thing for a sick person to have no one at home. His mother-in-law immediately smiled. Everyone liked polite people. His mother-in-law gave Ning Shu a set of jewelry. It looked very expensive and retro. It was probably worth a lot of money. His father-in-law directly gave him a card and said that he could buy whatever he needed. Ning Shu, I like it. Ning Shu walked into the kitchen and saw that the breakfast was divided into 2 portions. Mo Ming's mother explained, "One portion is for us. The other portion is for Mo Ming. He can't eat things that are too hard, too greasy, or too harmful to his stomach." Ning Shu said, "Oh. I will take good care of Mo Ming in the future." Mo Ming's mother smiled. There was a hint of melancholy in her smile. Her son's health really made her worry. Mo Ming's mother felt that if her son passed away one day, she would have no support and might follow him. "Why are you up?" Mo Ming's father saw his son coming downstairs. He quickly put down the newspaper and went to help him. Mo Ming looked around and asked, "Where's Wuxia?" Ning Shu came out of the kitchen and saw Mo Ming. He said, "I'm here." Mo Ming woke up and saw that there was no one beside him. He remembered that it was the first day of their marriage and he could not let her meet her in-laws alone. Just read a novel. Chapter 2037. Mo Ming, who had just woken up, had a sickly blush on his face. His face was very thin and his eyes were lifeless. When he saw Ning Shu coming out of the kitchen, he asked, "Why didn't you call me?" "I saw that you weren't feeling well so I didn't call you. You woke up so suddenly. Can your body take it?" "It's okay." The sickly blush on Mo Ming's face started to fade. Without the blush, his face was very pale and a little transparent. Yes, he was so pale that he looked like a bolt of lightning. He was so thin that he looked like a bolt of lightning. Mo Ming and his father-in-law sat on the sofa. The two of them were talking about something. Ning Shu poured a cup of warm water for Mo Ming. It was healthy to drink a cup of water in the morning. Mo Ming took the cup. "Thank you." Mo Ming looked at Ning Shu standing at the side and said calmly, "Sit down. You don't have to stand." "Okay." Ning Shu sat on the sofa and watched Mo Ming drink the water. Mo Ming's father looked at his son and daughter-in-law and said, "The flowers in the garden are blooming quite well. You can go out and take a look when you're free." Ning Shu asked, "Isn't Mo Ming allergic to pollen?" "With Mo Ming's weak body, he should be allergic." The father-in-law smiled and said, "There are no flowers in the garden that he's allergic to." "Alright, if Mo Ming was really allergic to some flowers and planted them in front of his house, wouldn't that be killing him for money?" Mo Ming put down the cup and said to Ning Shu, "You can go and pick any flowers that you like." "Thank you." Ning Shu smiled slightly. She had a more important task. Picking flowers or something like that. After the task was over, she might be able to plant flowers or something like that. The Mo family's villa was very big. This villa was where the family of 3 lived. The rest of the Mo family had their own residences. During festivals or when something big happened, they would gather at the ancestral house. Other than his parents-in-law, Ning Shu had only seen Mo Ming's cousin, Mo Zhe. It was probably because Mo Ming's body wasn't good that the elders and relatives didn't ask him to recognize him. "It's time to eat." Mo Ming's mother walked over and reached out to help her son. Ning Shu helped her and helped Mo Ming to the dining table. During the wedding ceremony yesterday, Mo Ming stood at the door for a long time and walked for a long distance. During that time, Zhao Yang's incident happened. His body couldn't take it last night and he was very weak now. Mo Ming sat down and Ning Shu sat next to him. Mo Ming was eating something different. Ning Shu took a look and saw that it was a medicinal diet. In other words, Mo Ming had been eating medicinal diet, but it was useless. Indeed, the body was like a large water tank with many holes. No matter how much water was poured into it, it was useless. The main thing was to repair the body. However, they couldn't find a way to block the hole, so they could only desperately pour water in. If Mo Ming had lived in an ordinary family, he would have died a long time ago. Mo Ming used a spoon to take small bites of the medicinal cuisine. He chewed and swallowed slowly and calmly. Ning Shu understood Mo Ming's current state. He lived one day at a time and accepted this fate. In the beginning, he was in despair and pain. There was also deep resentment. He felt that there were so many people in the world, but why did he have to suffer such pain? If his mentality wasn't stable at this time, it was easy for him to have the mentality of taking revenge on society. Why did he have to suffer such pain? From the beginning to the later acceptance, he completely calmed down. This was because there was no use in making a fuss and crying. On the contrary, intense emotional changes would only cause him to die faster. Ning Shu felt that Mo Ming was like himself, who was lying on the hospital bed when he was alive. He didn't know why he was alive, but he just wanted to live. He didn't have a specific goal, but he still wanted to live. Mo Ming chewed slowly and turned to see Ning Shu staring at him. He asked, "It's not to my taste." "No, it's delicious." Ning Shu bit on the sandwich and drank the warm milk. Mo Ming probably hadn't even tasted a sandwich before. Mo Ming ate a small bowl of medicinal cuisine and actually asked for half a bowl. Although half a bowl wasn't much, Mo Ming's mother was so happy that she almost cried. It was so serious last night. She thought that her son might have passed away after getting married. Could it be that it worked? Mo Ming's mother scooped half a bowl of invitation for her son and gave Ning Shu a piece of toast. She said, "Eat more. It's been hard on you to take care of Mo Ming." "Thank you, Mom." Ning Shu thanked her with a smile. The atmosphere during breakfast was very harmonious. Mo Ming's father went to work after eating. Mo Ming's mother stood up and tidied his tie. She whispered, "Be careful on the road. Drive slowly." "I know." Mo Ming's father smiled. He gave people a feeling of elegance and elegance. It felt that Mo Ming and his son were quite similar. If Mo Ming didn't have this illness, he would also be a handsome man. Mo Ming's mother sent her husband to the door. Ning Shu went close to Mo Ming and said, "I'll show you something good later." Okay. Ning Shu was in a good mood. It was good that she was willing to cooperate. It was time to show her ability. After breakfast, Ning Shu helped Mo Ming upstairs. "Xue Qiao, wait. I have something to tell you." "Wait." Ning Shu went downstairs and asked his mother-in-law, "Mom, what's the matter?" "You and Mo Ming are husband and wife. Husband and wife have to live together as husband and wife. But Mo Ming's health is really not good." Mo Ming's mother was helpless. Ning Shu nodded. "I understand. Mom, don't worry. Mo Ming's health is important." Mo Ming's mother held Ning Shu's hand. There were tears in her eyes. She took a deep breath and said, "Actually, I know that this is unfair to you. But I don't want Mo Ming to have any regrets. He has a wife and a complete life. When Mo Ming passes away, you can remarry. I will marry you off like a daughter and give you a dowry." Ning Shu was speechless. "Thank you, Mom. I understand. I will take good care of Mo Ming. In the future, Mo Ming will be filial to you and take care of you when you are old." Ning Shu said. The Mo family was kind. They basically said that they would give Mo Ming a complete life before he died. Even if he was unhappy, he had to bear with it. Bear with it until Mo Ming died. There would be benefits. Go. Mo Ming's mother's tone became lighter. Ning Shu turned and went upstairs. He saw Mo Ming standing at the stairs waiting for him. He went over to help Mo Ming. "What did Mom say to you?" Mo Ming's voice was light and weak. Ning Shu smiled and said, "Mom told me not to disturb you. Your health is not good." Mo Ming's body trembled. He said, "Actually, you don't have to marry me." It was his mother who had been begging him to marry her. He was already in this state. Why should he implicate another person? Ning Shu said directly, "I'm willing to marry you. And I'm not at a disadvantage." Chapter 2038. This marriage was a marriage with a purpose. There was no need to feel aggrieved. They had already achieved their goal. What was there to feel aggrieved about? Ning Shu asked Mo Ming to sit on the bed while she rummaged through a box. She took out a jar and a silver needle from the box. Mo Ming looked at these things and asked, "What is this?" "Good stuff." Ning Shu opened the jar. There was a flesh-colored wriggling worm inside. It was a little disgusting. "It looks a little weird." "What is it?" Mo Ming asked. Ning Shu smiled and said, "It's a poison that can kill you." Mo Ming's expression didn't change. "I'm wasting the poison." Ning Shu said, "It's a goo. However, it's not a poisonous goo. It's a goo that helps you digest it. This goo is just a little greedy. You two have a good parasitic relationship." Ning Shu patted Mo Ming's shoulder. "Your body can't store energy. Also, you don't eat much. The energy that you take in can't compare to the energy that you lose. Your Chinese medicine master taught you this?" Mo Ming asked. Ning Shu shook his head. "No, I learned it from an expert. Do you want to eat it? If not, I won't force you." "Eat it," Mo Ming said. Ning Shu was a little surprised. "Do you really want to eat it? What if it's harmful? I've been eating a lot of folk remedies. This one won't make a difference," Mo Ming said. Ning Shu was speechless. He felt that Mo Ming's words made him feel like he had nothing to live for. Ning Shu was afraid that Mo Ming would go back on his word, so she stuffed the disgusting-looking goo worm into Mo Ming's mouth at lightning speed. Then, Mo Ming felt something slippery slide down his throat and into his stomach. This folk remedy was still alive. Mo Ming's pale face turned even paler. He felt like vomiting. Mo Ming had a feeling that he didn't care about life and death. To be more precise, he had nothing to lose. How bad could the situation be? Ning Shu smiled and said, "Anyway, it's good stuff. I worked hard to get it. Take off your clothes and lie down." Mo Ming looked at Ning Shu without moving. Ning Shu opened the silver needle bag and said, "I'll give you acupuncture. I learned it from a national treasure of traditional Chinese medicine. I'll give you acupuncture and blood circulation." "You even learned this?" Mo Ming looked at the thick and thin silver needles. Ning Shu smugly said, "I've learned a lot of nursing knowledge and medicinal cuisine. I will take good care of you." Mo Ming unbuttoned his shirt and took off his clothes, revealing his pale and thin body. "What should we do?" Mo Ming asked. He was too obedient. He was simply at her mercy. "Lie on the bed," Ning Shu said. Mo Ming was lying on the bed. His thin body stretched out on the bed. Ning Shu pulled out the silver needles. Just as he was about to insert the needles, Mo said, "Don't tell Mom and Dad that you did this." "Oh, I got it." Ning Shu nodded. He knew that Mo Ming was doing this for her own good. To prevent anything from happening to Mo Ming in the future, she had to take responsibility. Ning Shu's hand that was holding the silver needles trembled. "Then why are you still letting me do it? What if something happens to you? I know my body well." "Just do it," Mo Ming said. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. Actually, he didn't believe in her ability. "Anyway, I'm going to die. Just do it. Don't give up on treatment, young man." Ning Shu disinfected the silver needles and inserted them into Mo Ming's snow-white skin. He twisted them twice and then inserted them into other places. When Ning Shu was done, Mo Ming had actually fallen asleep. Ning Shu grabbed Mo Ming's wrist and felt his pulse. Anyway, Mo Ming was weak. Weak. Just one word. When it was about time, Ning Shu removed the silver needles from Mo Ming's body and covered Mo Ming with a blanket. He disinfected the silver needles and kept them. Then, he quietly closed the door. When he went downstairs, Ning Shu asked Mo Ming's mother, "Where is the flower garden?" "It's in the garden. There are many varieties." Ning Shu left the villa and called Old Master Ro to tell him that he was fine. Old Master Ro asked Ning Shu if he would be coming back for the visit 3 days later. She definitely had to go back. Mo Ming's health wasn't good and he might not be able to go. Besides, she had other things to do. Besides taking care of Mo Ming's body, the more important thing was to deal with Zhao Liang. Old Master Ro told Ning Shu to take good care of himself and to be careful in front of others. He didn't mention anything about the project. There was still a long way to go. After hanging up the call with Elder Ro, Ning Shu called the private investigator and asked about Zhao Liang's situation. The private investigator told her that Zhao Liang was still in the hospital, but there were bodyguards around him. They couldn't even enter the ward. He didn't know the details. Ning Shu said that he understood. It seemed that Zhao Liang was really scared out of his wits. He even had bodyguards in the hospital. Ning Shu asked the private investigator to try his best to find out more information. Money was not a problem. After hanging up the phone, Ning Shu went to the flower garden and saw a gardener taking care of the flowers. There were quite a lot of varieties. Ning Shu walked into the flower bed and picked up the scissors to cut the more elegant flowers, such as lilies and white roses. She avoided bright flowers. Flowers with bright colors were too aggressive, and it was not good for the patient's mood. He put the cut flowers in a basket. The flowers in the morning were still dewy and fresh with a fresh fragrance. Ning Shu really liked this kind of life. There was food and drink, and he could do something to cultivate his mind. Yes, he was elegant. After cutting some flowers, Ning Shu carried the basket back to the living room and saw that Mo Ming had woken up. Ning Shu walked over with the basket and asked, "You're up. Didn't you sleep?" Mo Ming saw the flowers in Ning Shu's basket and said, "I just closed my eyes for a while." In addition to being seriously ill and in a coma, he did not sleep well. Perhaps the acupuncture had some effect, causing him to close his eyes for a while. "Is this vase okay?" Mo Ming looked at the vase on the table. Ning Shu looked at it. The vase was simple and elegant. It matched the flowers she picked today. Ning Shu flattered, "You have good taste. How did you know I wanted a vase?" "I heard from Mom that you went to pick flowers," Mo Ming said. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. He was quite smart, but his body was not strong enough. He put the basket on the table, cut the flowers with scissors, and then inserted them into the vase. Mo Ming just looked at him with a tired face. He used his hand to support his temple. "Why don't you go and rest?" Ning Shu looked at him. Mo Ming's days were really not long. He was already at the point of exhaustion. In the plot, Mo Ming would die so quickly. However, the time was coincidental, and he fell at the wedding. The Mo family would inevitably be angry, and the Rou family's days would be difficult. In addition, Rou Xueqiao had offended Zhao Liang. It was simply one disaster after another. Ning Shu washed his hands, wiped them on his apron, and poured a glass of water for Mo Ming. Mo Ming's water was filtered with special equipment. Chapter 2039. Thank you. Mo Ming took a sip of water and put it on the table. He looked at Ning Shu arranging the flowers. His eyes were dim because of his weak body. Kacha, kacha. There was only the sound of scissors in the living room. Ning Shu stopped chatting with Mo Ming. After all, chatting was quite tiring. Mo Ming was tired from sitting. He put his hands on the table and rested his head on his arms. He closed his eyes slightly. Ning Shu quickly arranged the flowers. Then, he took a thin blanket from the sofa and covered Mo Ming. Mo Ming woke up. He opened his eyes and looked at Ning Shu. Then, he saw the flower arrangement on the table. "It's done. It's beautiful. Thank you. I think it's beautiful too." Ning Shu accepted the praise. This was a doll made of crystal. Ning Shu had to pinch his throat when he spoke. He did not want to scare Mo Ming and make him stumble. He might not be able to get up. Ning Shu looked around. There seemed to be no one at home. Where did Granny go? She went to buy groceries with the servant. My mother is the one who worries about my diet. Mo Ming drank a sip of water. Ning Shu nodded. Ning Shu pulled a chair and sat in front of Mo Ming. He asked, "How do you feel after the acupuncture?" Mo Ming was silent for a moment. "I'm fine. Please don't lie in front of a doctor." Looking, listening, asking, and feeling the pulse are the basic skills of a doctor. Ning Shu reached out to feel Mo Ming's pulse. His pulse was very weak. Ning Shu had to press harder to feel his pulse. Mo Ming looked at Ning Shu. "How long have you been learning?" "For a while." Ning Shu asked, "Are you hungry?" "No." To be precise, he did not feel any obvious hunger. Even if he was hungry, he was not that hungry. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. It should not be. He should be able to feel hunger. Even if Mo Ming was not hungry, the thing in Mo Ming's stomach should be hungry. Oh, maybe the venomous insect in Mo Ming's stomach had starved to death. "Then do you have anything you want to eat?" "I'll get it." Ning Shu asked. He couldn't let the goo starve to death. This type of goo was not harmful to the body. Instead, it could increase the host's digestive ability. It was like some microorganisms that existed in the human body and lived in symbiosis with humans. Mo Ming shook his head. There's nothing I want to eat. Just sit down and rest. Ning Shu and Mo Ming were more polite. They didn't have much contact before, and now that they were married, they didn't seem like husband and wife. Ning Shu sat down and looked at Mo Ming silently. Ning Shu was really bored, so he held Mo Ming's hand and rubbed it to warm it. It was summer now. Mo Ming's hands were cold and did not have much heat. Ning Shu said, when you have nothing to do, rub your hands and feet. Friction generates heat and produces energy. The human body needs energy. Mo Ming replied, I got it. Mo Ming's mother was sweating profusely when she returned from grocery shopping. When she saw Mo Ming, she asked, Are you feeling unwell? I'm fine, Mom. Mo Ming's expression was calm. Mo Ming's mother nodded and followed the maid to get busy. Let's go upstairs, Mo Ming said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu said, the air downstairs is better. Let's go downstairs. Mo Ming thought for a while. Then let's go to the garden. There's a bench in the garden. Ning Shu helped Mo Ming to the garden outside the villa. There was a bench under the tree. Mo Ming and Ning Shu sat under the shade of the tree. The sunlight shone through the gaps between the leaves, forming a mottled shadow of different shapes. Not far away, the flower bed was in full bloom. Ning Shu asked Mo Ming, You don't seem to want to face your mother-in-law. My mother has been working hard for my health since I was young. All these years, when I was in front of her, she would constantly ask me about my health and whether I was feeling unwell. She is very anxious. When I'm not in her sight, she can relax a little. Mo Ming was a little breathless when he spoke. Was this the so-called out of sight, out of mind? Ning Shu said, It's quite romantic for us to sit under the shade and look at the sea of flowers like this. Ning Shu felt a weight on his shoulder. He turned and saw Mo Ming's head tilted on his shoulder. How did he master this skill that allowed him to fall asleep at any time? Mo Ming's health was really terrible. Ning Shu felt that he might snatch Mo Ming from the Grim Reaper again. Mo Ming might really not be able to hold on. Ning Shu could not wake Mo Ming up. He could only stiffen his body and cultivate. The spiritual energy he gave Mo Ming last time only allowed him to eat half a bowl of rice. Ning Shu activated the ultimate martial arts in his body and started to absorb the spiritual energy around him. Spiritual energy was the only thing that was useful. Perhaps it was because he was close to the flower bed. There was a little bit of spiritual energy in the flower bed. Ning Shu absorbed this little bit of spiritual energy. Ro Shueqiao. Mo Ming's voice was nasal. Ning Shu opened his eyes. Seeing Mo Ming's confused gaze, Ning Shu said, I'm unblocking the Ren and Du meridians. Mo Ming just looked at Ning Shu with a gentle expression. I knew you wouldn't believe me. The days spent with Mo Ming were relatively peaceful. Ning Shu had already accepted Mo Ming's habit of dozing off at any time. When he was bathing at night, Ning Shu guarded the bathroom door and said, Don't pick up the soap that dropped. Kick it aside. I don't need the soap. Mo Ming's voice came to Ning Shu's ears through the door. I'm done. You can bathe. Mo Ming opened the door and turned his body to let Ning Shu in. When he went out, he closed the door for Ning Shu. Ning Shu came out of the shower. Mo Ming was lying on the bed. Ning Shu slept beside him and said, You ate 2 bowls of medicinal cuisine at night. Does your stomach feel uncomfortable? It's okay. Maybe the goo worked, Mo Ming said calmly. He didn't pin his hopes on the goo. He was ready to die. Ning Shu and Mo Ming talked face to face. Mo Ming's body had problems on the wedding night last night. What about now? Mo Ming said calmly, Go to sleep. Oh. Mo Ming turned his back to Ning Shu. Ning Shu yawned and set the alarm on his phone. After a while, he got up to check on Mo Ming's situation. He treated the patient with a professional attitude. Worry. Ning Shu's body was operating the peerless martial arts. Whether there was spiritual energy or not, it couldn't go wrong. In the middle of the night, Ning Shu felt a small amount of spiritual energy in his energy center. He reached his hand under the blanket and held Mo Ming's wrist. He transferred a small amount of spiritual energy to Mo Ming. When he held Mo Ming's hand, Ning Shu felt Mo Ming's body stiffen. Ning Shu asked, "You're still awake?" Staying up late to cultivate would cause sudden death, especially for a body like Mo Ming's. Mo Ming said, "I slept and woke up again." This quality of sleep. Sleep early. Mo Ming's tone was indifferent. Ning Shu felt Mo Ming's pulse. There was no change. Ning Shu retracted his hand. "I'm going to sleep." Sleep early. Ning Shu closed his eyes and operated the peerless martial arts. Ning Shu wanted to run deep into the mountains and forests. Maybe he could absorb some spiritual energy. Mo Ming's body was really difficult to repair. Chapter 2040. Mo Ming had a better appetite these 2 days and ate more than before, which made Mo Ming's mother very happy. Even Mo Ming's father felt that Ning Shu was bringing good luck to her husband. Bringing good luck to her husband. It was probably because of this title that Mo Ming's mother stuffed Ning Shu with a lot of things when Ning Shu returned home, saying that it was a gift for returning home. Ning Shu said to Mo Ming, who was standing at the door, "Go in, I'll be back soon." Mo Ming's body was really not suitable to return home with Ning Shu, so Mo Ming said, "Be careful." Ning Shu nodded, got in the car and went back to her mother's house. Fortunately, Mo Ming did not go with him. She still had things to do. When Ning Shu returned to her mother's house, Elder Ro was already waiting for her. Even the client's father did not go to work and was waiting for Ning Shu at home. Ning Shu took out the gifts prepared by her mother-in-law and gave them to her family. Elder Ro asked a lot of questions and also asked about his grandson-in-law's health. Ning Shu only said that Mo Ming's body was a little weak, but it would not be a big problem if he took good care of it. Ning Shu stayed for lunch and called the Mo family, saying that she would stay for lunch and go home in the afternoon. Elder Ro asked about the project indirectly, but Ning Shu only said that there was no need to rush. The Mo family would give it to her on account that they were relatives. Taking the initiative to give and taking the initiative to ask were two different things. After explaining things to Elder Ro, Ning Shu prepared to go to the hospital to see Zhao Liang. Ning Shu did not want the Mo family to know that she had contact with Zhao Liang to take away Zhao Liang's advantage. Since she said that there was no relationship, then why did she still want to meet him? She also did not want to borrow the Mo family's power. Since she said that she had nothing to do with Zhao Liang, then why did she have to suppress him? In short, it would arouse suspicion. Ning Shu did not want the client to come back and face the Mo family's suspicion after she left. Furthermore, even if something were to happen to Mo Ming in the future, the Mo family would not mistreat the client. Ning Shu carried the fruit basket to the door of Zhao Liang's ward. However, he was stopped by the bodyguard. Ning Shu gave the thermos and the fruit basket to the bodyguard. "Please bring them in. I want to know if Yu Ling is here." "No more," the bodyguard said. Ning Shu frowned. "Since you're not here, what do you want me to send?" "Send this in." "Yu Ling asked me to send it." A bodyguard brought the items in and frankly said that these items were sent by Miss Yu Ling. During Roshue Qiao's wedding, the two of them had fallen out. During the time that Zhao Liang was hospitalized, Yu Ling did not appear. Now that Zhao Liang heard that Yu Ling had sent someone to deliver something, he could not help but grimace. Women could not be spoiled. Zhao Liang said to the nurse, "I'm hungry. Feed me. Zhao Liang's arrogant look made the nurse blush. She picked up the thermos and scooped out chicken soup and chicken. She did not know how the chicken soup was made. It was very fragrant and appetizing. Zhao Liang was served by a beautiful nurse. He ate the meat and drank the chicken soup. Ning Shu stood at the corner and released his spiritual force to check the situation in the ward. Seeing Zhao Liang drink the chicken soup, he turned around and left. She always felt that Zhao Liang was really arrogant. As soon as she said that it was sent by Yu Ling, he ate it. He thought that his woman would not harm him. He was full of confidence. Ning Shu left the hospital, took off his fast food delivery jacket, threw it in the trash can and got in the car. She was a delivery girl, so she would not attract so much attention. Next, Ning Shu went to the mall to buy some things as a return gift for the Mo family. Ning Shu called Yu Ling. Why didn't you stay in the hospital? I went to the hospital to get the medicine and made some chicken soup for you. But you're not here, so Zhao Liang took advantage of you. Sister Xueqiao. Yu Ling sobbed on the other end of the phone. Don't mention Zhao Liang's name to me. I feel uncomfortable. Ning Shu, how can I comfort you? It seems that I saw Zhao Liang and a nurse. It's like this again. Can Zhao Liang change his habit of being affectionate? Sister Xueqiao, I feel uncomfortable. These days when I'm not with Zhao Liang, I've been thinking a lot. My brain is about to explode. Sister Xueqiao, where are you? I want to see you. Yu Ling wanted to find someone to complain. Ning Shu became a tree hole gloriously. Ning Shu said, I'll go back to the Mo family in the afternoon. Come to the Mo family to see me. Sister Xueqiao, I envy you. Yu Ling's tone was full of envy. Ning Shu, it could only be said that every family had its own difficulties. Yu Ling did not know the condition of the porcelain doll Mo Ming's body. After lunch, Ning Shu went back to the Mo family and brought back a big bag of things. Mo Ming closed his eyes and leaned on the sofa. There was a thin blanket covering his legs. He was probably taking a nap again. Ning Shu's footsteps woke Mo Ming up. Mo Ming opened his eyes. You're back. Ning Shu sat down. Mo Ming pushed a cup of water in front of him. Ning Shu grabbed the cup and gulped it down. He said, why did you fall asleep in the living room? It's easy to catch a cold. I'm fine. Mo Ming said lightly. My grandpa gave you a red packet. Ning Shu passed the red packet to Mo Ming. Mo Ming took the red packet with his pale hands. Thank you, Grandpa. Ning Shu asked, how much did you eat for lunch? 2 small bowls. Mo Ming said. Ning Shu shook her head. It's not much. Mo Ming's bowl was really small. Every day, he would worry about the baby as if he was a child. It's a lot. My mother cried tears of joy. Ning Shu, don't force yourself to eat even if you can't eat. It's a burden to your body. Ning Shu was afraid that Mo Ming would hurt his body if he forced himself to eat. Ning Shu released his mental strength to check Mo Ming's body. His body was still the same. The only change was that his organs were not failing as fast as before. Mo Ming's heart was beating very slowly. There was not enough blood supply, so Mo Ming's hands and feet were cold. Ning Shu carried a bag with one hand and went upstairs. Then he took a shower. When he came out of the bathroom, a dry towel was placed on his head. Ning Shu took the dry towel and wiped his hair. I didn't go to Grandpa's house. Did Grandpa blame you? Mo Ming sat on the bed and asked. Ning Shu shook his head. No, Grandpa asked you to take good care of your body. Your health is very important. Mo Ming pursed his pale lips and said, when I die, you can leave the Mo family and find a man who likes you to marry. Ning Shu said, "Don't say such things. It's not good for your health to think too much." Mo Ming looked at Ning Shu. "I didn't want to marry you, but I don't have much time left." Ning Shu said, "Oh, do you want to be honest with me? I know my body well. I've already told my parents. After I leave, I'll prepare a generous dowry for you. Don't waste your youth. You have a healthy body in front of my tombstone. Don't waste it." Mo Ming was a little short of breath. Ning Shu poured a glass of water for him. "Do you think and worry so much every day?" Chapter 2041. The marriage between Wuxia and Mo Ming was mixed with their own selfishness. The client wanted to get rid of Zhao Yang, and also wanted to help her own family. Mo Ming was about to die, which meant that the woman who married him would become a widow in a short time. Mo Ming couldn't refuse his mother's pleas, even if he knew that it was unfair to a girl. In order to make up for it, Mo Ming tried his best to arrange things after his death. He didn't want a young girl to be his widow. Ning Shu felt that Mo Ming's health was always so poor because he worried too much. He was about to die, so why did he think so much? When a person died, everything in this world had nothing to do with him. He had entered a different world. Ning Shu said, "If I say you're fine, you're fine. I'll worry about my matters. If you worry too much, your health won't be good." Wuxia had already given her soul to turn the situation around. She wouldn't let herself live so miserably. On the other hand, Mo Ming, who was in better health than him, didn't worry so much. Mo Ming was silent for a while. In the end, he was a little sleepy and fell asleep on the bed. Ning Shu, weren't they discussing something very serious? Why did he fall asleep so quickly? Ning Shu covered him with the blanket and then felt his pulse. Well, there was no change. It was the same as before. It was good that it didn't worsen. He scanned Mo Ming's body and couldn't find the existence of the venomous insect. Even modern medical equipment couldn't detect the venomous insect. It was almost integrated with the body. Ning Shu took back his hand and tiptoed out of the bedroom. He went downstairs to the kitchen. His mother-in-law was busy cooking medicine for Mo Ming. "Where's Mo Ming? Is he feeling unwell?" Mo Ming's mother asked. Ning Shu, now she was asked about Mo Ming's health every day. She suddenly understood how Mo Ming felt. Ning Shu said, "He's resting. I covered him with the blanket. Don't worry." Mo Ming's mother nodded. Ning Shu asked, "What do you like to eat? What flavor?" "I'll ask the chef to make it for you." "I'll eat whatever you guys eat," Ning Shu said. Mo Ming's mother's face was very pale, but her body was very weak. She was relying on Mo Ming to support her. If anything happened to Mo Ming's mother would probably collapse. Ning Shu said, "Actually, everyone can eat Mo Ming's medicinal cuisine. It's all to replenish vitality. Mom, you can eat more. Anyway, it has to be boiled, so you can eat some." "I know. You don't have to stay here. Go upstairs and look after Mo Ming's mother said. Ning Shu felt that Mo Ming's mother would be anxious if he was here, so he went upstairs. Ning Shu simply sat cross-legged on the sofa and rested. Of course, since he was cultivating a peerless martial art, it would be best if he could condense a strand of spirit qi. Mo Ming's body made Ning Shu feel a sense of helplessness. He didn't know how Zhao Yang was now. Ning Shu felt that he had restrained all his temper in this world. According to Ning Shu's temper, he should have directly cut off Zhao Yang's penis. But now she did a good thing and gave Zhao Yang the lust goo. This goo would make him energetic and strong. Compared to the side effects of taking medicine, this was simply a man's blessing. There was a knife above the word lust. Moreover, Zhao Yang had so many women. Let him serve those women and enjoy the wonderful taste. Since Zhao Yang wanted to be a stud horse, she would give him strong abilities. Haha. Mo Ming's goo was not harmful, but this kind of goo was the kind that harmed people. Even if the body was made of iron, it would not be able to withstand the destruction. Back then, with the excuse of learning nursing, she ran outside every day and gave Ning Shu the opportunity to refine the goo. He failed many times before he succeeded. In a short period of time, Zhao Yang should not have any big movements. After all, his finger was injured and he did not know when it would recover. Moreover, people who wanted to have sex at any time were probably lustful. Ning Shu removed the impurities in the air. There was very little spirit energy, it was not even as thick as a strand of hair. The modern world made people so helpless. Mo Ming opened his listless eyes and looked at Ning Shu who was sitting on the sofa. Ning Shu opened his eyes and said, "Do you want to drink water? I'll get you some water." "Thank you." Mo Ming sat up and rubbed his forehead tiredly. Ning Shu poured water for Mo Ming. He felt that Mo Ming was still so tired when he slept. It was more tiring than when he did not sleep. Mo Ming sighed, took the cup and drank a mouthful. Ning Shu put the cup on the bedside and then took Mo Ming's pulse. His heart rate increased when he slept. It was not a good sign. "How is it?" Mo Ming asked Ning Shu. It did not seem like he was asking how his body was. Instead, he seemed to be teasing Ning Shu. He did not think that Ning Shu had any medical skills. He allowed Ning Shu to give him acupuncture and take his pulse. He did not think that this girl could cure him, so he indulged in others' nonsense. Ning Shu curled his lips and said, "It's okay." Mo Ming only pursed his lips, and his lifeless eyes carried an expression as if he was watching a joke. "Ning Shu, my professionalism is being questioned." Ning Shu said expressionlessly, "It's not good to tell the truth. I'll give you a needle." Ning Shu took out a silver needle and disinfectant alcohol. He looked at Mo Ming and said, "Take it off and lie down." Mo Ming raised his hand and unbuttoned his shirt. His movements were very slow, as if he did not have any strength. It made people's obsessive-compulsive disorder act up. Ning Shu resisted the urge to tear Mo Ming's clothes. She watched as Mo Ming slowly took off his clothes. The two red fruits on Mo Ming's chest were pink and tender. Ning Shu wanted to pinch off his red fruits like pinching a succulent plant. It was probably because Mo Ming was such a weak man that it aroused people's desire to be violent. "Lie down." Ning Shu disinfected the silver needle and planned to poke Mo Ming's acupoints. Mo Ming slowly lay down. Looking at the silver needle in Ning Shu's hand, he suddenly said, "Your silver needle is a bit thick. It's different from the one last time." Ning Shu said while poking, "The acupoints have different sensitivity, so the silver needle used is also different." Mo Ming did not move. He felt that the place where he was poked was sore and painful. It was also a bit hot. Ning Shu poked many needles into Mo Ming's acupoints and poured a bit of spiritual qi into them. Ning Shu wiped the sweat on his face with the back of his hand. Mo Ming took out a square handkerchief from his pants, folded it neatly, and handed it to Ning Shu. Ning Shu took the handkerchief and used it as a face towel to wash his face. Then, he put it aside. After a while, Ning Shu slowly pulled out the silver needle and used the handkerchief to wipe off the blood that oozed out of the acupoints. The blood was the poison that had accumulated in the body. Chapter 2042. Mo Ming's physiological functions were not good. Normal people could sweat out the toxins through exercise, but Mo Ming could not. His organs were failing, such as his liver and kidneys. These were the organs that detoxified the toxins in the body. To be honest, Mo Ming did not have much flesh. It was more difficult than normal people to insert needles into his bones. If not for his mental strength, normal people would not dare to insert needles into Mo Ming. Mo Ming looked at the faint blood on the handkerchief and said, "Throw this away. Don't let Mom see it. She will be worried again." "Oh," Ning Shu replied, indicating that she understood. Of course, she would not say that she had treated Mo Ming's illness. If that happened, she would have to bear the responsibility. If she offended the Mo family, everything she had done before would be in vain. It was no different from the plot. Ning Shu said, "This is a good thing. It will expel the toxins that have accumulated in the body. Don't think that bleeding is a bad thing." Mo Ming nodded. But he looked at Ning Shu with a look that said, "I'm watching you bragging." This made Ning Shu speechless. Mo Ming picked up his clothes and put them on slowly. Ning Shu did not go over. Otherwise, his hands would itch to pinch the red fruit. His hands were itching. Ning Shu disinfected the silver needles and put them away. He said to Mo Ming, "Just stay in the room. Don't go out. You just did acupuncture. Okay." Mo Ming lay down. If he could lie down, he would not sit. Mo Ming looked at Ning Shu and asked, "Are these things difficult to learn?" "A little." Ning Shu nodded. "It's difficult and boring. Then how did you persevere?" Ning Shu said, "When it's time to use it, you will regret not having enough knowledge. There's nothing wrong with learning it. Now it's time to use it. After I leave, you can do something you like." Mo Ming closed his eyes slightly. Mo Ming was always talking about death. He must have been prepared for death. He must have been prepared for it for more than 20 years. Perhaps he was used to death. Mo Ming's appetite was much better. He could eat 2 small bowls of medicinal cuisine every meal. It was a blessing to be able to eat. Mo Ming's father said to Ning Shu, "Didn't I give you a card before? Buy whatever you need. Don't worry. Buy yourself some nice clothes and jewelry." Ning Shu smiled and said, "Thank you, Dad." Was this returning the favor? Although the Mo couple didn't know what Ning Shu had done, they knew that Ning Shu was developing in a good direction. It was just a matter of money, a reward for their daughter-in-law. "Aren't you friends with Yu Ling from the Yu family? Why don't you go shopping with her sometime?" Mo Ming turned to Ning Shu and said. He then turned to his mother and said, "Mom, let's go out for a walk too. If I go out, who will take care of you? Besides, the young ones have different tastes from me." Mo Ming's mother shook her head. "There are caregivers at home. It's okay." Mo Ming choked. Ning Shu quickly passed him the water and patted his back gently. Mo Ming's face was flushed because of the coughing. "Don't be anxious," Ning Shu said. He couldn't be indifferent in front of Mo Ming's parents. "I'm fine," Mo Ming said. At night, Ning Shu and Mo Ming chatted under the blanket. Of course, they didn't talk much before Mo Ming fell asleep. It wasn't that he fell asleep, but that his body couldn't take it and automatically fell asleep. Mo Ming mentioned Yu Ling yesterday. The next day, Yu Ling came to the Mo family. Her eyes were red. Ning Shu's heart skipped a beat. He almost thought that the matter of his chicken soup had been exposed. After all, he used Yu Ling's name to give Zhao Liang the chicken soup. That was why Zhao Liang ate it so easily. Now, she was here to criticize him. But no one should have found out about the venomous insect. Yu Ling was a little shy when she saw Mo Ming. After all, they were newlyweds. It was not good to disturb them so suddenly. Ning Shu saw that Yu Ling didn't question him aggressively. He didn't think it was because of the chicken soup. But it must be Zhao Liang who could make the proud Yu Ling's eyes turn red. Ning Shu asked, "Why are you looking for me?" Yu Ling glanced at Mo Ming. Mo Ming stood up and said, "You guys talk. I'll go upstairs." Ning Shu said, "Don't move. I'll go outside with Yu Ling." Mo Ming said, "There are guests at home. Don't pull them out." Mo Ming said and was about to go upstairs. Before going upstairs, he asked the maid to make some fresh juice for the guests. A trace of envy flashed across Yu Ling's eyes. Thinking of the unsightly scene she saw in the hospital, Yu Ling's eyes turned even redder. She gulped down the juice the maid brought over, but she still couldn't calm herself down. In the end, tears began to fall from her eyes. Ning Shu took out a tissue and gave it to her. "Why are you crying? What happened?" "Sister Xue Qiao, what should I do?" "You don't know. When I went to the hospital today, Zhao Yang, he was actually doing something with the nurse in the ward." Yu Ling was embarrassed and sad. Ning Shu immediately retorted, "Hasn't he always been like this? Besides, the stimulation in the hospital. The temptation of the uniform and the fact that it was a ward with bodyguards guarding outside." Ning Shu was not surprised at all by this kind of stimulation. If Zhao Yang became a gentleman, Ning Shu would suspect that he had used the wrong spell. Yu Ling was speechless. "You didn't see the nurse?" She smiled at me provocatively. She put her arms around Zhao Yang's neck and was under Zhao Yang. Yu Ling's fingers were twisted into a fried dough twist. Ning Shu said, "Why don't you just leave him? You're a girl of the Yu family. You can find any husband you want. Why do you want to be entangled with a man who has nothing and can't control his pants? Actually, Zhao Yang is quite good to me in other aspects." Yu Ling couldn't help but defend Zhao Yang. "It's not like he doesn't have anything. In fact, he's a very aggressive man. He's also very capable. He fought from nothing until now. When he was hospitalized, even the chief came to visit him. After that, those troublemakers who bullied Zhao Yang were forced by their families to apologize to him." Ning Shu facepalmed. A girl who knelt under the halo of a stud horse really couldn't be hurt. No matter how outsiders said that her boyfriend was a scumbag, a girl would still try to clear her boyfriend's name. Other than that, he was actually quite good to her. As for what Yu Ling said about fighting, what did Zhao Yang fight for? Everything was brought about by his X-ray vision. He was obviously just sitting back and enjoying the fruits of others' work. Perhaps Yu Ling had been with Zhao Yang for too long and had developed a prejudice against the rich second generation. She hated the rich and thought that the rich second generation were all scumbags who relied on their family's protection. Other than having a good family background, what was the point of having some stinky money? Chapter 2043. Yu Ling had already been influenced by Zhao Yang. After staying with him for so long, she felt that it was better to find someone who treated her sincerely than to marry a rich second-generation heir. However, was Zhao Yang's way of doing things any different from those devil incarnate? Well, only the loser was the best. They were both playing around, but Zhao Yang was still using love as a fig leaf, or at least giving each other a fig leaf. Ning Shu was speechless. Yu Ling only came to complain to her. After complaining, she would do what she was supposed to do. Ning Shu picked up the glass of juice and drank. She really did not want to say anything. "Sister Xue Qiao." Yu Ling wiped her tears. "What do you think I should do?" What should she do? Yu Ling was not asking her for advice. No matter what she said, Yu Ling would definitely deny it. When the time came, Ning Shu would turn around and say that she was ruining their happiness. Of course, Ning Shu would not do such a stupid thing. Ning Shu drank the juice and said, "Haven't you already accepted his problem? It's fine as long as you don't care." The tears she shed today were all from yesterday. Since she had already made her choice, there was nothing to say. Like Mo Ming, he might die tomorrow. I didn't care in the past. As long as he treated me well, I didn't care how many women he had. Don't all women want to find a man who loves them? But he has changed now. He doesn't care about me that much anymore. Yu Ling cried and complained. Ning Shu really wanted to ask if she really lacked love. But she held it in and did not say it. Ning Shu was annoyed by this kind of pitiful behavior. Where did the arrogant Yu Ling go? Where was the eccentric Yu Ling now? She was like a resentful wife. Ning Shu could not understand Yu Ling's sadness at all. Maybe it was because the knife of survival was hanging over her head and could fall down and cut off her neck at any time. There was no chance to start over. She could only brace herself and run forward. There was no time to be sad. Ning Shu's motto was to learn to be a strong woman. She was not pretentious, not coquettish, not cowardly. She was to live as proud as she could. Love could take out all the bones of a woman. No matter how proud a woman was, she would be terrified in the face of love. This thing was really poisonous. It showed that love was everything, and losing love meant losing everything. Ning Shu listened quietly to Yu Ling's complaints. He did not express any opinions. He thought to himself, Zhao Liang is fighting with the nurse in the ward. It seems like the aphrodisiac is taking effect. Give me back all the chicken soup I drank to make up for my lost health. In a situation where his fingers were about to break, he actually wanted to slap her. The man who lassoed the horse is mighty and majestic. Ning Shu's mind was wandering. Seeing Yu Ling crying so hard, he handed her a piece of tissue and continued wandering. As for what Yu Ling said, Ning Shu didn't really care. Anyway, she just needed to be a tree hole quietly. Seeing that Yu Ling had finished the juice, Ning Shu asked the maid to pour another cup for her. Her mouth was dry and it could moisten her throat. After crying so much, it could replenish her water. Sister Xue Qiao, I heard that there's a type of black magic that can make the person under black magic loyal and obedient. Yu Ling suddenly said. Ning Shu came back to his senses. Don't mess around. These things can't be trusted. If it's really effective, how can there be so many infatuated men and women in the world? The key was to not clash with her aphrodisiac spell. Fuck. Sometimes, women would go crazy for love. This situation would definitely hurt the man's body. But women, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. Sister Xue Qiao, I can't stand Zhao Liang's affections anymore. And he's getting colder and colder to me. Yu Ling said. After talking for so long, this black magic was the main topic. The foreshadowing was too long. She said that she loved this man very much and couldn't bear to do it, so she wanted to use black magic. There didn't seem to be anything wrong with her logic. Ning Shu held his chin and looked at Yu Ling helplessly. He asked, do you really love Zhao Liang that much? She didn't ignore and avoid the question because of the halo. Ning Shu was speechless when he said that Yu Ling was avoiding the question, but she came up with the idea of black magic. I love him very much. Zhao Liang is different from the men I've met. He's different from those men who rely on their family's protection. Yu Ling said. Then it was his flirtatious temperament that attracted you. It was just like how a man looked at a woman. Even an uneducated woman could be seen as innocent and cute. What could they say? As long as their eyes met, the eyes would activate the beauty function. 666, don't do anything stupid. Ning Shu said, didn't you say that he's good to every woman? He's good to you. Why do you want to be the only one? Some women are after Zhao Liang's money. Where were they when Zhao Liang wasn't rich? Ning Shu, when Zhao Liang wasn't rich, you weren't by his side either. At that time, you were still a proud and smart girl. Ning Shu was just complaining in his heart. Maybe Yu Ling thought that she should be the purest woman. Her family was rich and she didn't want Zhao Liang's money. Those women were either saved by Zhao Liang or attracted to Zhao Liang. Moreover, Zhao Liang's taste was very diverse. He actually accepted mother, daughter, and sisters. Hanging out with these people was quite unsightly. Ning Shu tried to persuade Yulinger, but he realized that he couldn't change her mind. So he gave up. Even if she wanted to torment Zhao Liang, she could do whatever she wanted. Yulinger was the daughter of the Yu family. Yulinger was a famous family. Yulinger was by Zhao Liang's side because of love. But now, because Yulinger saw what Zhao Liang did with the nurse in the ward, she wanted to monopolize Zhao Liang. Could this be the awakening of consciousness? From the past, they were all Zhao Liang's women. They were all good sisters. Now, she wanted to monopolize this man. Was this an improvement? Was this a big step for human beings? Ning Shu wanted to punch the ground. Were all the men in the world dead? Why did they have to compete with such a man? Yulinger seemed to have made up her mind. She didn't have time to cry anymore. She finished the juice in the glass and walked away in her high heels. Mo Ming went downstairs and poured himself a glass of water. He asked Ning Shu, who was rubbing his face, "I've already woken up. What did you guys talk about?" Ning Shu told Mo Ming about Zhao Liang and Yulinger. He couldn't be the only one who was worried. "It's quite mysterious," Mo Ming said calmly. "I'm going to take a shower." Ning Shu went upstairs and called the private detective. He asked them to pay attention to one more person. That was Yulinger. He didn't know if Yulinger would really find someone to cast a curse on Zhao Liang. Curses like this required a taming master. Chapter 2044. She could even control such emotional matters. Was she trying to turn Zhao Liang into a puppet? He would definitely listen to her and not raise his hands or legs. Ning Shu didn't care how Yulinger tormented Zhao Liang. She didn't want to kill the goo poison that he had painstakingly cultivated. Although the goo poison had strong vitality, what if it died? Although he didn't know why Yulinger had awakened, it was still a good thing. Yulinger wouldn't let Zhao Liang off so easily. There were so many women around him. Some of them wouldn't be able to get anything out of Zhao Liang and would definitely leave. Others wouldn't dare to offend Yulinger. Don't forget Yulinger's family background. If someone messed with Zhao Liang wouldn't be able to develop his own business. Go ahead. Such a harmonious harem group really made people feel that it was exceptionally strange. Actually, Yulinger's actions were all because of Ning Shu's wedding and the relationship between Ning Shu and Mo Ming. Yulinger was really envious. Mo Ming was a well-mannered person. When he saw her, he took the initiative to go upstairs. He didn't even interrupt the conversation between women. However, she had to share a boyfriend with so many women. She also wanted to have someone completely walk into the hall of marriage and be able to have children. She didn't want her child to be an illegitimate child. She was a member of the Yu family and couldn't do such a shameless thing. Could it be that she, a lady of the Yu family, couldn't even have a complete marriage? Yulinger was provoked and her competitive spirit was ignited. Her childhood best friend was so happy, there was no reason for her to be inferior. Yulinger didn't know the exact situation of Mo Ming's body. She only saw the surface. When Yulinger arrived at the hospital, the bodyguards didn't dare to stop her. Yulinger opened the door of the ward and saw another unpleasant scene. Yulinger walked over and grabbed the hair of the nurse. The nurse screamed in pain and moved around. She almost broke Zhao Liang's manhood. "What are you doing?" Zhao Liang frowned and looked at Yulinger. Yulinger was getting more and more arrogant. She came in without knocking and looked like a jealous woman. It was annoying. Sure enough, these girls from wealthy families had their eyes growing on top of their heads. Each and every one of them had their heads held high. Yulinger sneered and slapped the nurse. Half of the nurse's face was swollen after being slapped by Yulinger. Er's hand was trembling, and her palm was hurting. Get out of here, or I'll teach you a lesson. If you're a nurse, you should take good care of the patient. You're even taking care of her in bed, can you have some shame? Grabbed the nurse's hair and dragged her out of the room. She threw her out of the room without any clothes on. The bodyguards guarding the door were stunned. Women who could catch Zhao Yang's attention were all beauties. Beauties with decent figures and faces. The bodyguard had a feast for his eyes. The nurse was so scared that her face turned pale. She covered her chest with one hand and knocked on the door with the other. There were people coming and going in the corridor. How could she stay in this hospital like this? But the door was locked from the inside. The nurse covered her face and ran away, leaving the bodyguard staring at her and smacking his lips. You're too much. Zhao Liang quickly put on his pants. But because he was in a hurry, he touched the wound on his finger. Zhao Liang groaned in pain. He felt that his finger was going to break. Zhao Liang put on his pants and picked up the nurse's clothes on the floor. He asked the security guard to pass the clothes to the nurse. The nurse was considered one of his people now. But when someone saw her body, Zhao Liang was immediately displeased. He was even more displeased with who started it. He thought that after neglecting for a while, had reflected on herself. But she was getting more and more out of hand. Zhao Liang was lying on the bed, ignoring Er's heart was trembling. She didn't know why she was so timid in front of Zhao Liang. She was a girl from the Yu family, but she was so timid in front of Zhao Liang. She was afraid that Zhao Liang would get angry and abandon her. Subconsciously, she put Zhao Liang first and always thought of him. Took a deep breath. There are so many sisters who can take care of you. Why did you do this with the nurse? And when he was sick? Didn't Zhao Liang want her finger? Zhao Liang was annoyed with Er's criticism. Zhao Liang felt that he had the right to do so. And what could he gain from Er? He didn't need to treat Er like an ancestor. If Er wanted to leave, he wouldn't stop her. He could accept it if she didn't know what was good for her. But if something like what happened just now happened again, he couldn't tolerate it. Er's heart was cold. But she still loved Zhao Liang. She couldn't leave Zhao Liang. Since she was young, he had never treated her like this. The colder Zhao Liang was to her, the more she wanted Zhao Liang. She had to cast a spell on Zhao Liang so that he wouldn't mess around. Bribed the doctor and injected Zhao Liang with sleeping pills. Zhao Liang fell into a deep sleep and brought the master of black magic to his bedside. Anyway, she didn't know what he fed Zhao Liang. Some powder from the corpse of a centipede or some other stuff. The master of black magic said that the person who was cast a spell would only give his heart to when he woke up. If he had other women in his heart, he would feel as if thousands of ants were gnawing on his heart. Was very satisfied. It was time for Zhao Liang to have a taste of this feeling. When saw Zhao Liang with other women, she felt as if thousands of arrows were piercing her heart. The master of black magic took a large sum of money from and left. Waited by the bedside for Zhao Liang to wake up. She hoped that Zhao Liang would look at her affectionately when he woke up. She didn't know if he was affectionate or not. But the fingers that were sewn together were a little inflamed. The doctor in charge came to check and applied all kinds of anti-inflammatory drugs on Zhao Liang's fingers. Even if they weren't very flexible, as long as they were still sewn together, all 10 fingers would be fine. Also, there were 2 door gods outside. If this patient's fingers pointed out the problem, he would be crippled. Zhao Liang's fingers were probably filled with pus because he had eaten some random things. Doctor, what the fuck? Why isn't he awake yet? She still wanted to see how Zhao Liang's heart was filled with her. Ning Shu learned from the private investigator that Yu Ling had hired a master of black magic to enter Zhao Liang's ward. Ning Shu's expression was like this: she was indeed a practical person. Zhao Liang was still sick and she cast a spell on him. Zhao Liang was playing with fire, and now he was dying. Chapter 2045. Zhao Liang had stepped on countless boats. Even the huge ship of love would capsize. The human heart was complicated and changeable. A small matter could cause a huge uproar. Perhaps Zhao Liang had enough confidence in himself and did not think that a woman would betray him. In the end, he was cursed. Furthermore, it was when he was injured. In the end, it was unknown if he had eaten something unclean, but Zhao Liang's body temperature had reached an abnormal state. Even his fingers had begun to become inflamed. Seeing Zhao Liang like this, Yu Ling was a little worried. On one hand, she was afraid that Zhao Liang had become like this because of cursing. On the other hand, she was afraid that something would happen to Zhao Liang. She only wanted Zhao Liang to only have her in his heart. She was the only one in his heart. Yu Ling was frightened. She cried and called Ning Shu. Ning Shu's voice was inexplicably shocked. You really cursed him. Yu Ling cried and said, Sister, don't go around telling people that I cursed him. Otherwise, when Zhao Liang wakes up, he will kill her. When Ning Shu heard Yu Ling say that Zhao Liang's condition was not very good, the corner of her mouth curled up. Even if something happened to Zhao Liang, he would die a worthy death. If he died under a peony, he would be a romantic ghost. Rising because of a woman, dying because of a woman, wasn't that great? The master of cursing probably used drugs. The drugs were similar to cursing. For some reason, Zhao Liang's body showed signs of rejection. As a result, Zhao Liang was now unconscious and even his wounds had worsened. Don't worry. I'll go to the hospital to take a look. Ning Shu comforted Yu Ling. It will be fine. Sister Xueqiao, I'm scared. What should I do now? Yu Ling cried and said. She no longer hoped that Zhao Liang would only have her in his heart. Now, she just hoped that Zhao Liang would wake up. She did not expect anything else. Ning Shu said, Which master did you hire? Just ask him for the antidote. Since he is a master, he should have a solution. Don't worry. Yeah, I'll go find the master. Look, I'm scared out of my wits. Yu Ling hurriedly hung up the phone and went to find the master of cursing. However, the master was gone. Not even a strand of hair was left. Yu Ling sat on the ground and started crying. She had gone to look for a black magic master because she had heard that this black magic master was very effective. But where was he now? He had taken so much money from her, and now he was gone. Yu Ling then called Ning Shu. Now, Ning Shu was Yu Ling's life-saving straw. She didn't dare to tell her family that she had a boyfriend, but this boyfriend had too many girlfriends. She wanted to use supernatural means to keep him, but now she might die. The most important thing was that Zhao Liang might not be able to keep his fingers. If Zhao Liang knew, he would definitely cut off all ties with her. He would definitely ask her to get lost. Perhaps he would kill her out of anger. Ning Shu listened to Yu Ling's heartbroken cries and guessed that Zhao Liang's condition was really bad. He prepared to go to the hospital to have a look. Previously, when Ning Shu had cast a lewd spell on him, Zhao Liang was not like this. Instead, he was especially energetic every day, doing that with the nurse. Now that he had eaten the black magic master's things, his condition had become complicated. Using modern standards, Zhao Liang might have been infected. Yu Ling needed someone to accompany her. When she heard that Ning Shu was coming, she immediately started crying. Ning Shu felt a toothache. Sometimes, he didn't feel guilty at all for lying to a girl like Yu Ling. Ning Shu really hoped that Yu Ling would leave Zhao Liang and not be entangled with him. Ning Shu hung up the phone. Mo Ming gently flipped through the newspaper and asked, "You're going to the hospital?" "Yes, I want to see Yu Ling, She's not in a good mood. I'm afraid that she might do something stupid." Ning Shu said, "I'll be back soon." "Can you do it alone?" "Yes, there are nurses at home." "Be careful. Yu Ling, Don't hang out with her in the future. She doesn't look normal." Mo Ming reminded Ning Shu. Ning Shu nodded. He felt a little proud. In the past, Mo Ming was a little breathless when he spoke. Now, he was not that breathless. Anyway, Ning Shu didn't know what he was proud of. Maybe it was because Mo Ming was a little bit more energetic. "Call me if there's anything," Ning Shu said. Then, he drove to the hospital. When he arrived at the hospital, Yu Ling, was sitting in the corridor outside the ward crying. She covered her face. There were 2 guards at the door. "Don't cry. Maybe the situation is not as bad as you think. The worse, the better." Yu Ling raised her head. Her eyes were red and swollen. Ning Shu was shocked. What was she doing? Was she going to cry herself blind? "Sister Xueqiao, it's very serious. Zhao Liang is in the intensive care unit. No one can go in. Also, they have to wear sterile clothes. Sister Xueqiao, I'm afraid I killed him," Yu Ling said. Ning Shu covered Yu Ling's mouth and pulled her aside. He said, "How can you say something like that? You said you killed Zhao Liang. If something really happened to Zhao Liang, do you want to take the responsibility? Do you want to go to jail?" "I don't want to, but Zhao Liang's condition worsened because he ate the medicine I brought," Yu Ling said. "Just keep it in your heart. Don't say it out loud. Besides, don't take the responsibility. Maybe it was because Zhao Liang pointed out the problem. It has nothing to do with you. If Zhao Liang heard what you said, do you think you will have a future?" Yu Ling pursed her lips tightly. She was at a loss. Ning Shu walked to the door of the intensive care unit and released his spiritual power to check on Zhao Liang's condition. Zhao Liang's face was pale. The finger that was reconnected was red and swollen. The finger that was cut off was blue and purple. However, the doctors were still trying their best to save the finger. Even if the part that was sewn together was red and swollen and made the body hot, the doctors still didn't dare to remove the finger directly. However, Zhao Liang didn't wake up for a long time. There was no way to ask for his opinion. This made the doctors very worried. Ning Shu felt that the finger was almost necrotic. If the finger was forcefully reconnected, it would only make the body's condition worse. It seemed that Zhao Liang was really asking for it. Yu Ling was really awesome. It was said that girls in love abandoned their brains. Now it seemed that not only did they abandon their IQ, but they also abandoned their common sense. Perhaps there really were black magic masters in this world. After all, she had refined them into goo. A real black magic master was still very powerful. A sorcerer who was proficient in black magic could kill people from 1,000 miles away and come and go without a trace. Chapter 2046. A powerful taming master only needed to take anything from the other party, such as clothes, shoes, socks, accessories, or even the 8 characters of a person's horoscope to cast the spell. Even when talking to the taming master and taking the things he gave, one would unknowingly fall under the spell. But the taming master that Yu Ling found was probably a scammer. Hurting Yu Ling was really a loss for both her and her money. Zhao Liang didn't wake up, and Ning Shu didn't know if his X-ray vision was still on Zhao Liang. Yu Ling hugged her bag tightly. Ning Shu saw her like this and felt strange. He asked, "What's in your bag?" Actually, there's no bag. It's just that the taming master gave me other things besides casting spells on Zhao Liang. Yuling took out a bottle of oil. The taming master told her that it was devil's oil. Ning Shu took it and smelled it. It smelled like animal oil. Well, it was actually corpse oil. Touching Yuling's glabella and tongue could make the effect of fall of love even better. Besides devil's oil and Hier Xian oil, it was something that could make one's career go smoothly and obtain love. It seemed that the master wasn't a scammer. He probably had some real skills. Even if he wanted to cheat, he wouldn't dare to cheat the Yu family. Sister Xue Qiao, should I throw these things away? Yuling was afraid that if she threw them away, something bad would befall her, and something bad would befall Zhao Liang. I'm still worshipping the Buddha at home. Yuling had a feeling that she might not be able to turn back. Ning Shu just said, "You're in your heart. Do whatever you want." I don't know what to do. Yuling was about to cry. She didn't know where the taming master was now. It was a matter of life and death. What if Zhao Liang didn't wake up? Ning Shu was speechless. Anyway, he couldn't help with this kind of thing. He just comforted her, Zhao Liang will wake up. How could he survive without the male lead's halo? He might not even be able to save a finger. The doctors were also in a difficult position now. In the plot, Zhao Liang's life was smooth sailing, but now he was plagued with misfortune. Zhao Liang was like a beggar who suddenly became an emperor. In addition to the fear, he also enjoyed a luxurious life. Money, beauty, status. You still have to tell your family about this. This is not something you can handle. Tell them and let them prepare, Ning Shu advised Yuling. Yuling shook her head. My father and brothers will definitely make me leave Zhao Liang. Don't they know about your relationship? It means that the elders in the family agree to the two of you being together. The Yu family truly has foresight to invest in Zhao Liang silently. This method of investment is to allow their daughter to interact with Zhao Liang. It seemed that only the Rou family did not know what was good for them and rejected Zhao Liang. Now that she knew about Zhao Liang's condition, she had achieved her goal of going to the hospital. There was nothing else she could do to help Yuling. She still had Mo Ming to worry about at home. It was enough to know that Zhao Liang was not doing well. Ning Shu asked the private investigator to find out more about Zhao Liang's situation and treated Mo Ming's body in peace. Compared to Zhao Liang, Mo Ming was much more important. Mo Ming was the client's husband. The best way to take revenge was to make me live better than you. Ning Shu returned to the Mo family. Mo Ming was lying on the sofa asleep. There was a thin blanket covering his body. The nurse must have covered him with it. Ning Shu went to the kitchen to make soup for Mo Ming. In order not to worry his mother-in-law, Ning Shu even went to find the Chinese medicine doctor who treated Mo Ming. He showed the Chinese medicine doctor the recipe and the doctor said it was okay. Ning Shu took the lead to show the recipe to Mo Ming's mother so that they would not quarrel later. Ning Shu did not want to have any conflict with Mo Ming's mother. Ning Shu took a clay pot and made soup for Mo Ming directly on the stove. He was still burning firewood. The taste of firewood to decoct medicine and stew meat was really good. Ning Shu sat beside the stove and slowly fanned himself with a fan in his hand. Ning Shu held his chin and sighed silently. He was afraid that she could not do anything about Mo Ming's body. He did not know if Mo Ming could hold on until the client came back. If Zhao Liang was dealt with, the mission would be completed. He had to speed up. Ning Shu opened the pot and skimmed off the oil on the surface. Otherwise, the soup would be very oily. If Mo Ming drank a bowl of soup, he would definitely collapse. Ning Shu skimmed off the oil a few times until there was no oil in the soup. Mo Ming's mother watched from the side and did not say a word. When Ning Shu finished cooking the soup, Mo Ming slowly woke up. Mo Ming's sleep time was longer than before. In the past, he would sleep for more than an hour. Now, he could sleep for 2 hours. When he woke up, his condition was still okay. However, Ning Shu still did not have much hope for Mo Ming's body. His condition was only slightly better. It was not possible for him to be completely cured. Even if there were any elixirs, it would be useless. There was no medicine that could cure Mo Ming's current condition. It was just like when she had a terminal illness when she was alive. She was bound to die. All the methods were just to extend her life one day at a time. When Mo Ming heard that the soup was made by Ning Shu, he drank another bowl of soup. Ning Shu said directly, "You don't have to drink so much. You will suffer if you are too full." Mo Ming said lightly, "I am not too full." He only drank soup and did not feel full. Ning Shu said, "Just do what you can." At night, Ning Shu performed acupuncture on Mo Ming again. He used a handkerchief to wipe the blood from the acupoints. Mo Ming said, "I don't know if it is a psychological effect or your acupuncture is a little effective. I feel more comfortable and my body is also more relaxed. Of course it is because my acupuncture is effective." Ning Shu had spent a lot of effort to achieve this level of comfort and relaxation. Every time she cultivated a little bit of spiritual energy, she gave it all to Mo Ming. If Mo Ming really didn't feel anything at all, Ning Shu really wanted to hammer the ground and cry. "It is because your acupuncture is effective," Mo Ming said. Ning Shu nodded. She put away the tools and then slept with Mo Ming. Mo Ming probably slept too much during the day, so he couldn't fall asleep now. He pulled Ning Shu and asked, "What happened at the hospital today?" Ning Shu's body was operating the peerless martial arts while he told Mo Ming everything that happened in the hospital. After hearing it, Mo Ming was silent for a while and said, "That Zhao Yang is not handsome. Why is Yu Ling, of the Yu family so obsessed with him?" Outsiders could not understand. There were so many women, but he still wanted them. The role of the halo. The female lead had the halo, so did the male lead. Under the halo, both men and women would love each other to death. Ning Shu said, "Maybe there's something special that's beyond our expectations. There are many things about him that are illogical. In short, I can't figure it out," Mo Ming said. He put his hand on the back of Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows and looked at Mo Ming's hand. Mo Ming followed Ning Shu's gaze and said, "Your hand is quite warm. Mine is a little cold." Chapter 2047. Mo Ming's hands were cold in the summer, but he was not angry at all. He covered his penis when he was cold. Of course, Ning Shu would not say this out loud. He asked, "Do you want me to get you a hot water bottle?" "The hot water bottle is too hot." Mo Ming's voice was nasal. He did not do anything other than covering Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu covered the back of his hand and asked, "Are your feet cold?" "Cold," Mo Ming said. Ning Shu slid under the blanket and put his feet on Mo Ming's feet. There was a gust of cold air, but it was quite cool in the summer. Mo Ming's vitality and energy were leaking out. His body could not contain any energy at all. That was why he was in such a situation. Moreover, he had to take injections regularly to ensure that his body had the nutrients it needed. What a miserable child. "Are you warm?" Ning Shu asked. "Much warmer." Mo Ming closed his eyes slightly and fell asleep after a while. Mo Ming was possessed by the god of sleep. He could fall asleep just by sitting. When he fell asleep, his body would consume less energy. It was a form of self-protection, just like a snake hibernating. Ning Shu checked Mo Ming's pulse. He was still dead. Then, he gave Mo Ming a trace of spiritual energy. She had tried her best to prolong Mo Ming's life, but she did not know how long Mo Ming could last. As long as Zhao Liang's X-ray vision left Zhao Liang's body, her mission would be completed. Then, she could leave. Now, Zhao Liang was lying in the hospital. He had not opened raw stones for a long time. He had also not gone to the casino for a while. Although he had money, it was a mountain. When he ran out of money, Zhao Liang would go to open raw stones. There was top-grade jade inside, and he could easily get a sum of money. There were probably not many people who dared to provoke Zhao Liang. The chief came to visit him. Moreover, the second generation who bullied Zhao Liang was forced to come to the hospital to visit him. Of course, Zhao Liang chose not to forgive these bastards. Even if these parents had given him gifts and money, it was all for the sake of the chief. However, Zhao Liang didn't care about this little bit of money. He told these people to take the money and scram. Fortune and misfortune came hand in hand. Although Zhao Liang had lost a finger, if anyone wanted to deal with Zhao Liang in the future, they would have to be wary of the military chief. After Zhao Liang was discharged from the hospital, he would be able to fly freely. With the title of military chief, he would be able to go to many places unimpeded. He had a benefactor to help him. Ning Shu's idea was to let Zhao Liang play in the hospital every day. Every day, apart from Mo Ming's recuperation, he would pay attention to the news sent by the private investigator. Just the private investigator alone cost Ning Shu a lot of money. Ning Shu didn't use the Mo family's money. Although Mo Ming's father gave him a card to swipe, there was a record of the swipe. When Mo Ming got married, the Rou family also gave him a lot of money. The private investigator was a necessary expense to avoid being blinded. Ning Shu made different kinds of soup for Mo Ming every day. Mo Ming could also drink half a bowl of soup. Mo Ming's mother was relieved to let Ning Shu make the soup. For this little bit of soup, Ning Shu really used all the skills in his life. He felt that he had become a soup master. Ning Shu not only got news from the private investigator every day, but Yu Ling also relied on Ning Shu. If there was any news in the hospital, Yu Ling would call him. Yu Ling cried and told Ning Shu how miserable she was. Zhao Liang's health was sometimes good and sometimes bad. Moreover, he couldn't save his finger. The infection was more serious. The doctor asked her to sign, but Yu Ling didn't dare to. When the time came, Zhao Liang would blame her. Yu Ling had to admit that she knew Zhao Liang's character better. Ning Shu directly said that Zhao Liang's family should be informed and signed. Moreover, they were his immediate family. Even if Yu Ling wanted to sign, she wouldn't be able to. They were boyfriend and girlfriend. The law didn't recognize a relationship. Yu Ling cried even more sadly. Zhao Liang has been hiding his injury from his family. If his parents are informed, they will still blame me. Ning Shu, doesn't Zhao Liang have so many close female friends? It's quite tiring for you to take care of him alone. Isn't it better to call those close female friends over to take care of him together? Ning Shu suggested. The more chaotic it was, the better. He just wanted the women to quietly wait to be pampered. However, humans had emotions too. It was inevitable that they would make a fuss. I don't want to see those women. Yu Ling said directly. Ning Shu. Then bear with it. I don't know what to do either. I'm going to make soup. I'm hanging up. Anyway, they didn't want her to sign. Zhao Liang's condition was sometimes good and sometimes bad. However, he couldn't keep his fingers. Yu Ling didn't want to bear the responsibility. She didn't want to be blamed by Zhao Liang. Yu Ling called again. Mo Ming took out a flower from the basket and trimmed it with a pair of scissors. Then, he put it into an elegant vase. He didn't move quickly. Ning Shu nodded. It's that girl. She's temporarily blinded by lard. She did it willingly. There's nothing in this world that can beat the words willingly. Mo Ming said calmly. Try not to interact with her. If you get too involved, she will blame you in the future. Understood. Ning Shu took the scissors and started trimming the flower. Mo Ming looked at Ning Shu. You seem to, go ahead. Ning Shu put the flower into the vase. You seem to pay more attention to Zhao Liang. Mo Ming said. Ning Shu's expression didn't change. Yes, I'm quite concerned about it. What I'm concerned about is why he can suddenly soar to the sky. I'm actually the same as Du Jun and the other kids. I'm quite curious about what method Zhao Liang has to choose the best raw stone from so many raw stones. Even those who have spent their whole lives in the stone gambling hall can't do it. It's almost a 100% success rate. Ning Shu didn't deny that he was paying attention to Zhao Liang. It was impossible for people to not give themselves away when doing things. Ning Shu said, maybe it's this kind of skill that allowed Zhao Liang to become so successful. Mo Ming's tone was light. It's just a moment of luck. Sometimes, when an opportunity comes, you can't avoid it. That person has the luck to rise. This wasn't just a moment of luck. Luck would run out one day. However, Zhao Liang's luck had always been so good. Alright, I'm just a little curious. Ning Shu said. But he, who doesn't have any experience in appraising treasures, can even tell whether something is real or not. Don't you think it's strange that he can tell whether something is real or not? There are many strange things in the world. Maybe it's because you're paying attention to him that the man thinks you have an affair with him. Mo Ming put down the scissors. He looked a little tired. Everyone has their own opportunities. Don't worry about others. Ning Shu nodded. Mo Ming looked like he had seen through the vicissitudes of life. Chapter 2048. In the end, the stitches were removed from Zhao Liang's finger. It was already necrotic. It was like a piece of dead flesh was sewn onto the body. The infection was too serious. Zhao Liang, who was unconscious, wanted to come over but he heard the doctor say that he wanted to chop off his finger. Zhao Liang was speechless. Fuck, I just slept for a while and you're telling me to chop off my finger? The doctor told Zhao Liang that if the stitches were not removed, the infection would get worse. It might even spread to the entire arm and he would have to cut it off. Compare a finger to an arm. You choose, patient. Zhao Liang thought, I choose you. What a quack. A finger problem was now developing into cutting off an arm. Zhao Liang looked at his hand. How did his hand end up like this? When Yuling heard that Zhao Liang had woken up, she rushed into the ward immediately. She wanted to see if the black magic had worked. It should be effective. Maybe it was because the first person he saw when he woke up was Yuling. Also, Yuling's face was filled with anxiety. Or maybe the black magic really worked. Zhao Liang looked at Yuling with a much gentler gaze. When he was hospitalized, Yuling was by his side. Even though this girl was a little stubborn and a little arrogant, she really cared about him. Yuling felt the way Zhao Liang looked at her. She was elated. Could it be that the black magic really worked? From now on, she would be the only woman in this man's heart. In the end, Zhao Liang accepted the surgery. He was afraid that if the infection was serious, he would lose an arm. If he lost a finger, he would be disabled. Zhao Liang couldn't accept it. He was originally a perfect person. He had X-ray vision and it was easy for him to earn hundreds of billions. But now, he lost a finger. It was too embarrassing. Would he be looked down upon by others? Would he be despised by beautiful women? Zhao Liang's head was aching. There was something buzzing in his head. It made him very uncomfortable. Even when he went for a CT scan, it didn't show anything. It was as if there were bees and mosquitoes buzzing in his head. It was very irritating. The doctor could only speculate that it might be an infection. It would be fine after the inflammation subsided. But the buzzing in his head was still there. Zhao Liang wanted to use his X-ray vision to see what was in his head. But he could only see others and not himself. He could only see as far as his eyes could see. Even though there was a buzzing sound in his head, Zhao Liang could still see Yuling-er's body clearly in front of him with his X-ray eyes. He stared at Yuling passionately, making her blush. Ever since Yuling-er dealt with the nurse like that, the nurse didn't dare to appear in front of Zhao Liang and Yuling-er. She was waiting for the right opportunity. Now that Yuling-er was his only woman, Zhao Liang really wanted to press her under his body. Yuling-er felt like her body was really working. Zhao Liang only had her in his heart now, and he was looking at her with such eyes. Yuling-er's body was burning. Well, that kind of thing happened in the ward again. Of course, Zhao Liang, who had just undergone surgery, could only stay downstairs. Yuling-er, who was immersed in the river of love, rarely called Ning Shu to complain. Ning Shu could only get some incomplete information from the driver. He said that Zhao Liang's fingers were numb after the surgery, but he was fine. Ning Shu was speechless. Yuling-er was really lucky. After marrying into the Mo family, there were more ties. Ning Shu couldn't pay attention to Zhao Liang all the time, and even Mo Ming found out that she was paying attention to Zhao Liang. Immersed in happiness, Yuling-er couldn't forget her best friend. She sent some gifts to Ning Shu to express her gratitude. She also secretly told Ning Shu that she was the only one in Zhao Liang's heart now. Ning Shu looked at Yuling-er, who was full of charm, and was doubtful. If Tame 2 really worked, then all Love Tame 2 would work. Ning Shu could only give his blessings. Yuling-er also said that she would invite Ning Shu to attend the wedding. Ning Shu was even more doubtful. Zhao Liang would get married. Yuling-er was a bit blindly confident. Ning Shu asked about Zhao Liang's condition indirectly. According to the doctor, Zhao Liang's fingers were cut off. Ning Shu wanted to know more about Zhao Liang. Yuling thought for a while and said, "Does it count as being more passionate?" Zhao Liang was very passionate now. He was always pestering her, and he was also very aggressive. Ning Shu was speechless. That meant her Tame 2 was still working. Yuling-er was a girl from a good family. She had some luck on her. When she was with Zhao Liang, her luck would also affect Zhao Liang and radiate to him. The more girls gathered together, especially those with good family backgrounds, the more Zhao Liang would be enveloped by luck. There was also such a thing. Not only could he hunt for girls, but he would also have luck radiating to him. One more girl meant one more channel, one more network, especially one that was run by a family. If something really happened, he wouldn't save his girlfriend. That was great. Yuling-er didn't say much to Ning Shu and left. She said she was going back to take care of Zhao Liang. Ning Shu said to Mo Ming, who was coming down from upstairs, "Why do I feel that she is here to show off?" He regretted using Tame 2 before, but now that he had achieved his goal, he didn't regret it at all. Mo Ming said calmly, "Don't interact with her in the future. She is here to show off. To prove that her choice was not wrong." Ning Shu brought the soup to Mo Ming. "Drink the soup." Mo Ming ate less and more meals now. He needed to eat at all times. Mo Ming looked at the soup and said, "Taking care of me must be very tiring." But it wasn't. It was like taking care of a baby who couldn't take care of himself, except that he didn't let her bathe him. She basically didn't sleep much. Ning Shu said, "It is a lie to say that it is unfortunate. It is more tiring. If it wasn't tiring, then he was superhuman. Have you always been so honest?" Mo Ming drank the soup and raised his eyebrows. Can't I tell the truth? Ning Shu asked. He didn't feel that he had to pretend to be nice to her. There was no need to. Sure, I like it when you tell the truth. Mo Ming passed the bowl to Ning Shu. Give me another bowl. Ning Shu scooped a bowl for Mo Ming. He blew on it and placed it in front of Mo Ming. Ning Shu sat opposite Mo Ming. He supported his chin and watched Mo Ming drink the soup. This mission was really sticking to Mo Ming every day. It was like taking care of a giant baby. And it was a very fragile giant baby. She didn't even have time to deal with Zhao Liang. The sooner she dealt with Zhao Liang, the sooner she could leave. Then, the client could come back earlier to see her husband. Ning Shu could only do his best for Mo Ming's body and leave it to fate. Chapter 2049. The mission progress in this world was slow because of Mo Ming. She could not let Mo Ming be suspicious and wait for the client to come back to face a suspicious marriage. She also could not go to the hospital to visit Zhao Liang. Under what name did she visit him? It was too late to avoid suspicion. Ning Shu's heart was also stifled. He did not know when Zhao Liang's clairvoyance ability would leave him. If they got married later. Of course, she could not object to this kind of thing. Fortunately, Mo Ming was a sickly man, but he did not vent his emotions on her. This mission really made Ning Shu unable to let go of his hands and feet. It was all because of Mo Ming. Ning Shu looked expressionlessly at Mo Ming, who was drinking soup. Mo Ming put down the bowl and said, "You don't look too good." "Yeah, I'm fine." Ning Shu kept the bowl and spoon, washed them and put them in the disinfectant cabinet. "Let's do acupuncture again," Ning Shu said to Mo Ming. "Everything is as bad as not enough. Haven't we been doing it frequently recently? Let's wait a little longer," Mo Ming said. Since Mo Ming was not willing to do acupuncture, Ning Shu would not force him to do it. In the end, he would be tired. "Do you want to go out for a walk?" Ning Shu said to Mo Ming. "The flowers in the garden are blooming very well." Mo Ming nodded. "Okay." The two slowly went to the bench under the shade of the tree. Sitting on the bench and looking at the beautiful flowers in the garden, Ning Shu immediately started to use his unique martial arts. Every morning, Ning Shu would go to the garden to pick flowers. There was some spiritual energy in the morning, so picking flowers could also be used to arrange flowers. "Where are you going?" Ning Shu saw Mo Ming stand up and walk towards the garden. He did not look like he was going to fall, so Ning Shu did not care about him. Mo Ming took a pair of scissors and cut a rose with dew. There were 2 fresh leaves. Mo Ming sat back on the bench and handed the rose to Ning Shu. His pale and thin hand held the rose. The contrast was very strong. Ning Shu took the flower. "Thank you. I heard that all girls want to receive roses," Mo Ming said. Ning Shu said, "It's not bad. Flowers are actually the reproductive organs of plants." Perhaps there was such a straightforward meaning hidden behind the flowers. Mo Ming looked at Ning Shu. He was saying something about genitals, but he was still sniffing vigorously. "Are you smelling flowers?" Mo Ming put his fist in front of his mouth and coughed softly. Ning Shu said, "Why don't we go in?" Mo Ming nodded. "Then let's go back." Ning Shu helped Mo Ming back to the villa. Then, Ning Shu went to prepare the soup and medicinal cuisine. Sitting in front of the small stove, Ning Shu called his family. Old Master Rou said that the Rou family had gotten a big project. This project was a few families together. It was not easy for the Rou family to squeeze in. Of course, the Mo family had given them some preferential treatment. If they did not do well, the Rou family would probably be taken down. Old Master Rou asked Ning Shu to take good care of his grandson-in-law. If he was free, he could bring him back. Ning Shu just vaguely nodded a few times. It was really not suitable for Mo Ming to go back to his mother's house with her. He could not tell old Master Ro that Mo Ming's health was very poor. Old Master Ro was already so old. It was better not to worry. After talking to the Ro family, Ning Shu added firewood to the small stove and called the private detective to find out about Zhao Liang and Yuling-er's situation. Zhao Liang was in the P ward. Ordinary people could not enter at all. Moreover, there were bodyguards guarding the door. It was really difficult to inquire about Zhao Liang's situation. The information given by the doctor was not specific. He gave a medical record. In other words, Zhao Liang's finger was cut off. He was recovering well and had a headache. When Ning Shu heard the word headache, he felt that something was wrong. If the witch doctor Yuling-er found was really capable, then the witch doctor might not be a witch doctor for love, but a witch doctor to harm people. Ning Shu hurriedly asked the private detective to investigate whether Zhao Liang's headache was very serious. Ning Shu hung up the phone and felt a little interesting. If it was a witch doctor for love, which could make people obedient and had no harm to the body, then why did the witch doctor run away? He probably wanted to avoid the limelight temporarily. Ning Shu felt that Zhao Liang was so enthusiastic about Yuling-er because of the effect of the goo. As long as it was a woman, Zhao Liang would be attracted, especially Yuling, who was a beauty. Since it was not a witch doctor, then who did it to Zhao Liang? In fact, Zhao Liang had offended a lot of people, such as the second-generation Du Jun and his classmates who had been driven into a corner by Zhao Liang before. Those classmates who did not lend Zhao Liang money to help him. That classmate was just an ordinary person. If he wanted to hire a witch doctor, it would be very difficult, and he would not have enough money to hire one. Since ancient times, people with special abilities served the rich and powerful. Things like feng shui, attracting wealth, and all kinds of tricks to harm people were all played by people at their level. Therefore, someone must have used the witch doctor to cast a witch doctor on Zhao Liang through Yuling-er's channel. Since Zhao Liang became rich, he had stepped on many people's faces along the way. There must be many people who wanted to take revenge on Zhao Liang. It was most likely that the second-generation Du Jun had offended Zhao Liang before and cut off one of his fingers. Because of the military chief, they were brought by their parents to apologize. Zhao Liang was a proud person. How could he forgive these people? Those second-generation Du Jun might as well kill him. Since there was no room for negotiation, then he might as well beat the dog when it was down. For a moment, all kinds of thoughts flashed through Ning Shu's mind. The specific situation had to wait for the private detective to return the news. Ning Shu took a breath and slowly stirred the medicinal cuisine in the casserole. He really wanted to rush to the hospital to check on Zhao Liang's situation, but the conditions did not allow him to do so. Marriage was really a grave. She wanted to climb out of the grave. In order to avoid arousing suspicion, Ning Shu had to keep calm. Otherwise, some things would be troublesome to explain, and it would be even more troublesome if he could not explain it. There was the word headache on the case, but in fact, Zhao Liang's situation was a bit serious. It was a severe headache. Repeated examinations and repeated scans did not show anything. The anxiety caused by the headache made Zhao Liang bad-tempered. It was as if there were insects drilling in his head, or there were insects flying around in his mind, buzzing, regardless of whether it was day or night. The doctor could not find anything. He could only say that it was Zhao Liang's psychological problem. Maybe there was some psychological barrier that made him have a headache. Zhao Liang thought, what psychological barrier? His head really hurt, so much so, but these doctors said that there was nothing wrong. There was no problem in all the examinations. Blood drawing, X-ray, all kinds of examinations, nothing was found. Chapter 2050. The doctor told Zhao Liang to relax. He felt that Zhao Liang was suffering from the aftereffects of the surgery. He was in pain everywhere and he was worried. It's not like you guys are the ones who are in pain. Zhao Liang really wanted to strangle these quacks and tell them that his head was hurting so much that it was about to explode. He wanted them to take out the things in his head and remove the worms in his head. The doctor was helpless too. This kind of patient could cause trouble anytime. They already said that they wouldn't be able to find anything wrong with him, but he was still in pain. You're just imagining it. Zhao Liang was so annoyed that Yu Ling didn't dare to go near him. He would throw things at the slightest provocation and lose his temper. Yu Ling was confused. He was fine just a while ago. Why did he suddenly lose his temper? Was it really so hard to accept that his fingers were chopped off? She didn't even despise him. There were so many disabled people in the world and Zhao Liang wasn't even considered disabled. Everything was fine, so what was Zhao Liang doing? Even the doctor couldn't find out that he was having a headache. He kept saying that he was having a headache. Even if he said that he was having a headache, he still wanted to fight with her. Yu Ling didn't know what to say. Zhao Liang was full of energy and he kept saying that he was having a headache. Yu Ling even suspected that he was faking it. The most intolerable thing for Yu Ling was that Zhao Liang's headache was so bad that he would actually hit her body. Violence was something that couldn't be stopped once it started. At first, Yu Ling could still bear it. Zhao Liang endured his headache and apologized to Yu Ling. The first 2 times, Yu Ling forgave him, but Zhao Liang was in so much pain that he would hit Yu Ling. First, he would throw things, and when there was nothing to throw, he would hit her. Yu Ling was originally a proud lady. She changed a lot for Zhao Liang. Zhao Liang still treated her like that. Yu Ling also found 2 bodyguards to stay by her side. If Zhao Liang dared to hit her, she would let the bodyguards do it. However, she still stayed in the hospital to take care of Zhao Liang. Zhao Liang would still have sex with her. However, when he was in pain, he would still hit her. Of course, these were all stopped by the bodyguards. Yu Ling had bodyguards, but so did Zhao Liang. In the end, the bodyguards from both sides fought. Anyway, the situation was quite strange. Feeling wronged, Yu Ling came to her best friend's tree hole. Seeing the 2 of them eating face to face at the dining table, Yu Ling couldn't help but burst into tears when she thought of the mess she and Zhao Liang had made. Mo Ming put down the spoon and wiped his mouth with a wet handkerchief. He said to Ning Shu, "I'm going upstairs." Ning Shu nodded and said, "Remember to cover yourself with a quilt when you sleep." When Yu Ling heard the conversation between the 2, she almost burst into tears again. After Mo Ming went upstairs, Ning Shu said to Yu Ling, "What happened? You wouldn't have come to me if nothing happened." Yu Ling pursed her lips. "Sister Xue Qiao, you only know how to mock me. I really don't know what to say. Isn't there nothing to worry about after leaving Zhao Liang?" Ning Shu said directly. "What happened this time?" "He attacked me, he actually hit me," Yu Ling said. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. "He's also a domestic abuser. Why do you think he changed? He's different from before." Yu Ling wiped her tears and said. It was to describe a person's behavior that had become strange, such as doing something out of the ordinary, or doing something unimaginable, different from before. Just say that you were under a spell. For example, a child crying and laughing abnormally, a husband and wife quarreling, a husband falling in love with another woman, a family not getting along well, the old and young suffering from strange illnesses, mental illness, stagnant fortune, and a failing career. Anyway, there was something wrong with his brain. Since he hit you, just leave him. This way of venting was addictive. Venting on people who were weaker than him and couldn't resist, the violence in his heart would only become more and more rampant. Actually, his head is too painful. When it hurts, he would hit his head against the wall. I also feel bad for him. Yu Ling sighed and said, I know he didn't want to hit me. Ning Shu was speechless. He really couldn't talk to this day. Previously, she said that the man hit her and said she should leave. Then, she automatically cleared the man's name. What else could he say? Ning Shu simply emptied his mind and used his ultimate martial arts to save some spiritual energy for Mo Ming. Anyway, Yu Ling was here to complain. After complaining, she would leave. She wanted to make herself feel better and make others feel worse. Usually, when Yu Ling asked, Sister Xue Xiao, what should I do, Ning Shu would blink. What a hen. Yu Ling wasn't here to ask Ning Shu what to do. She also didn't expect Ning Shu to give her a solution. She just wanted to complain about her misfortune and her miserable life. Ning Shu asked some questions about Zhao Yang. He asked why Zhao Yang had a headache and how bad it was. He then asked Yu Ling, who introduced her to this black magic master. Yu Ling directly said, many people said that he is very effective, so I found him. I asked people I know, and they all said that he is very powerful. In that case, it was really hard to tell who did it. Zhao Yang was in so much pain, so he must have been cursed. This thing was quite powerful. Ning Shu wondered if he should learn it too. He would have a skill to rely on. After complaining, Yu Ling calmed down a little and stopped crying. She looked at Mo Ming, who came down from upstairs, and said to Ning Shu, Sister Xue Xiao, your husband is so good. Ning Shu grinned. What good or bad? If Yu Ling married Mo Ming, she wouldn't think that Mo Ming was good. They couldn't fulfill their duties as husband and wife, and they didn't have long to live. How could things be so beautiful just by looking at them? Yu Ling looked at her watch and realized that she had been here for quite some time. She said goodbye and left. Mo Ming brought a cup of water to Ning Shu. Ning Shu took the cup and took a sip. Mo Ming sat on the sofa next to Ning Shu. What's there to talk about between girls? You can talk for 2 to 3 hours. There's a lot to talk about. Top quality products, cosmetics, bags, shoes, skincare products, luxury porcelain products, men, women, anything. Ning Shu said. Ning Shu was concerned about when she could leave Zhao Liang. As long as she left, her mission would be completed. Zhao Liang, who didn't have X-ray vision, would be beaten back to his original state in a second. If you really don't want to deal with her, I'll deal with her in the future. Don't show up, or go out and have fun. It was impossible to completely cut off their relationship, so they should have less contact. Ning Shu nodded. She always complained to him. Negative energy was contagious. Could he go to the hospital to check on Zhao Liang's condition? Forget it. Sneaking around would make people suspicious. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.